Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what?
Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
The play clock is 1 second ahead of the game clock, so here's the final snap. Here are the game. Tannenbaum to a knee. The Wildcats win in Tempe for the first time since 2011. Back-to-back Territorial Cups. A dominating afternoon in Tempe.
Can you imagine that before Saturday, there was not an active head coach at the University of Arizona, full-time head coach, not counting interim head coaches, that had a winning record in the Territorial Cup game in this century? And when I say this century, I mean the 21st century. Since the year 2000, no full-time Arizona Wildcats head coach had a winning record in the Territorial Cup game. Not Dick Tomey, not Mike Stoops, not Rich Rodriguez, and not Kevin Sumlin. Nobody until Jed Fish and his Wildcats went up to Tempe on Saturday and knocked off the Devil people 59-23 to give him a 2-1 record in his 3-year tenure. He is the first full-time active head coach for the Arizona Wildcats in this century to have a winning record against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Tim Kish was the lone coach, period, to have a winning record in this rivalry. He was the interim head coach in that 2011 year that Brian Jeffries just mentioned, when the Wildcats went up to Tempe, when Nick Foles got hurt, and the journeyman Bryson Burney came in and threw one pass with about 4 minutes to go to the great Jaron Kreiner for a touchdown to put the Wildcats ahead. And then the defense held at the doorstep on the final play of the game with Shaq Richardson getting a pass deflection on the goal line to seal the win. Tim Kish, the only other head coach to have a winning record in the Territorial Cup game this century. But again, he was an interim. Jed Fish is full-time. Jed Fish now sits at the top of that ladder after Saturday. DK on the Sports Tip. I'm David Kelly, joined as always by J.W. Madden. We want to hear from you, 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program today. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We are streaming this show on all of our platforms. Video stream, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, Twitter. The first three at Wildcats Radio 1290. The second at Wildcats 1290. You can listen to this stream on our website, wildcatsradio1290.com. Cue Alexa to put us on at Wildcats Radio 1290. Say that to Alexa. She'll cue us right up on your speaker so you can listen to it right in your living room. No better place. You can also find us on the iHeart Radio app.
What if somebody has their Alexa in another room of the house other than the living room? Can they still listen?
Yeah, if she can hear you. I think she can. I think she can too, because I think my wife a couple times has yelled from the bedroom for the weather. She loves to ask Alexa about the weather And I think she has yelled it from the bedroom a time or two, and Alexa has responded with an answer. And now, again, she won't, you'll have to, and you can make it go as high as it can. So maybe you can hear it in another room, but she's pretty responsive to distance, I think.
I just figure there's a lot of weird people in this world, DK, and I would imagine there's a few bathroom Alexas out there in circulation.
Oh, there is. There's bathroom Alexas. Absolutely. Absolutely. So great weekend for the Wildcats football team. Award-winning weekend. The Pac-12 handing out awards today. Tetero McMillan, no surprise, is your Pac-12 Player of the Week. What a performance! 266 yards receiving. No wide receiver had ever caught that many yards in a Territorial Cup game. Tetero McMillan now stands at the top of that ledger. Noah Fafita, once again, the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week. I mean, I don't know that they give out a Pac-12 Freshman of the Year award. I'm sure we'll start to get the awards in terms
That's
of
like a first-string all-Pac freshman team, right? If you're the quarterback on the all-freshman team, I think that's the award there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he is definitely deserving of that honor that has been bestowed upon him. So some great honors. He's also on the Davey O'Brien. He made the Davey O'Brien Great 8 again this week. 527 yards. No quarterback in the Territorial Cup game had ever thrown for that many yards. No quarterback in the history of Arizona football had thrown for that many yards in a game. Noah Fafita now holds that mark as well. So a great weekend for Arizona football. 6 straight wins, a 9-3 record, and now they will await their bowl destination. Is it going to be San Antonio? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about a return to San Antonio? I believe this will be the first time. I think 2010 was the last time they went to San Antonio and played in the Alamo Bowl. We'll talk about that today. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. The Suns have won 7 straight games. Still without their big three, but still with enough pieces to get a positive run going. Devin Booker fading away into the Hudson River yesterday.
That was a beautiful shot.
With a game-winning shot at the legendary Madison Square Garden. We'll hear from Devin Booker coming up a little bit later in the program.
My favorite part of that call is Walt Frazier said it was a really bad shot, and he didn't want to shoot it. And Walt Frazier's just like, Booker didn't want to shoot that. He didn't want any part of that shot. That was a terrible shot. And he go watch the replay. It was all calculated. It was a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
Yeah. You knew who was taking the shot there in that situation. Devin Booker, who was named the Western Conference Player of the Week?
Correct.
Yeah.
8th time he's been named, and that breaks a record. The Suns' previous record holder was Steve Nash, 7-time award winner of Western Conference Player of the Week. So Booker now stands alone. Surprising. I mean, not surprising when Nash played with Kobe and Shaq in the same division for a long period of time that he didn't get so many with the 2 MVPs. No more than 7. But, yeah, Booker, 8th time he's been Western Conference Player of the Week.
So they're rolling. Suns are rolling right now. That's a good thing.
6 straight road wins.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big number.
I went to the Cardinals game yesterday. I had not been to an NFL game since before the coronavirus pandemic. So I've got some thoughts on that. And y'all know I'm not a real big fan of Kyler Murray, and he did not look very good yesterday. First drive was great. After that, it was not good. So we'll talk about that. If you were at the Cardinals game yesterday, a lot of Rams fans. You know, it's typical. It's typical when in one of our professional teams sucks that half the building or a majority of the building is the other team. And that was no different than yesterday. It seemed like there was more blue and gold than there was Sedona red or whatever they call it, Cardinal red and black. Way too many Rams fans in that building, which leads me to another question. I don't know. Maybe this might, I probably should have made this the question of the day today, but we went with something else, and we'll get to that as well. But when I see Rams fans now, I ask myself, like, as someone that grew up in Los Angeles for a large, from Cleveland, moved to Los Angeles when I was 7, lived in Los Angeles from 7 to the age of 7 to the age of 11. So the four what I call the 4 informative years of my sports life, because I've always said that most young men and probably young women as well start to figure out sports around the age of 7, 8 years old is when you kind of start to understand it and get it and form your allegiances and whatnot. And so during that time period of my life, I was living in Los Angeles. Talked about it a few weeks ago, my first Monday Night Football game. Sat on the 40-yard line about 20 rows up for a Rams-Steelers Monday night game. Back in about, I want to say 1974, probably, maybe 75. I believe it was 74. But I always wonder, like, what makes you a Ram fan right now? Because the Rams were in Los Angeles. Then they spent a number of years in St. Louis where they were very successful, won a Super Bowl there. Now they're back in Los Angeles again. I saw a lot of Jason Donald jerseys, but how far do you go back as a Ram fan? Do you go back as a Ram fan to pre-St. Louis? I mean, were you a Vince Ferragamo Ram fan? Were you like me? Were you a James Harris and a Lawrence McCutcheon Ram fan? Were you a Kurt Warner Ram fan and Torrey Holt Ram fan and Marshall Falk Ram fan? And you've continued to be that as now they've gone back to Los Angeles? Are you a new school Ram fan? Matt Stafford, Jason Donald, and the like.
I've never met a person who wasn't a fan of Marshall Falk, and that includes all the people who had teams that wanted to see those teams fail. I mean, that was just that dude. Like, what can you say bad about him?
Yeah.
I know a lot of Marshall Falk fans out there.
Did you ever see, I don't know who did, there was like a documentary, I don't know where I saw it, but it basically went back to his San Diego State days and how he got there and that whole thing.
I remember he came on the scene because in his first game, he broke the record for most rushing yards in his very first game as a freshman, and that became national news. It was like pre-internet days. And
right.
Like, it was all over the place, and that was the first time I ever heard his name, Marshall Falk, and I was a fan ever since. Just an amazing athlete.
All right, J-Dub is still the invisible man, working on that. Apparently not working on it well enough because we can't seem to figure it out. But we still have Cricket here, and Cricket, how was Thanksgiving? How did the dinner at Sissy's work out?
Oh, sister was sick, and so were 2 of her kids, so we didn't do that.
Gosh.
Yeah. How about you? How was your Thanksgiving?
So what was the pivot?
So you had a bunch of pies to eat by yourself? Is that right?
What was the pivot? Apparently, a lot of people got sick over Thanksgiving because we talked about it Saturday night. Like all the Bourget kids got sick, and Trenton and Coben couldn't play in the Territorial Cup game.
Uh-oh.
Trenton, they were throwing up before the game, and I did see. I went back and watched the first half. I did see a shot of Trenton on the sideline early in the game, but I'm not sure if he left at some point because they were not feeling right. But yeah, so I'm sorry to hear that. So
Everybody was sick.
What was the pivot? Was there a pivot or no?
Well, they had fevers like the day before, and then definitely did not feel well the day of. So
right.
I took pie over, and I told my sister the kids could survive on pie for a couple days. So they still got the pie, but it was like for breakfast.
Nothing like eating pie when you're sick, right?
I don't know if that works.
Oh
but,
my gosh.
That's the thing. What about you? You guys were here the whole time.
We were here. My wife brought by some cold cuts and stuff. In fact, if you like pasta salad, there's some pasta salad. I forgot to send out a note. There's some pasta salad in the refrigerator back there. If you're hungry at all during your shift, go get you a bowl of pasta salad. So we munched on that and then got home and had a nice little late dinner. We ate. I don't think we even ate till almost 10 o'clock. I was like, Jesus Christ, it's late. We're still cooking. Yeah, we were still cooking, but we ate at 10 o'clock, had a couple nice glasses of wine and did our, we didn't make like a full turkey because there's only 2 of us. And my mom did not come over. So it was like, we did one of the 9-pound breasts.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. It was perfect.
We've done it a few
tasted.
times. Yeah.
Do you have a slow cooker, Cricket, do you have one of those slow cookers?
Like a crock pot?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, they don't call it a crock pot anymore.
Well, it's
called a
an
slow cooker now.
actual crock pot.
Okay.
It's like so. So I mean, I don't know what else I could call it. It like says
well, my
crock
wife
pot.
calls it a slow cooker. I
That
call it a
sounds
crock.
fancy.
I call it a crock pot. But yeah, I think I don't know. I thought maybe they changed the name of it. But yes, it's basically a crock pot.
We did ours on Friday.
Friday,
Because to avoid exactly what you're talking about. We didn't want to do the 10 p.m. stuff. So because we had Friday off, we just did, and we did the brine and all that stuff. But yesterday, I made pot pie. We did a full turkey. There's only 2 of us as well, but we had a full breast left over. So I made a roux and did the whole thing and turned it into like turned the second turkey breast. And that was honestly almost better than on Friday.
It usually is better the second or third day, right?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Pot pie. I never got into pot pies. I know that the kids used to love those when I was growing up, but I was never like, I was always very picky and scared to try stuff I didn't really like know what it was. So yeah, but I'm sure it was very good.
Yeah, I mean, if you get one that's frozen in the grocery store aisle, it might not be great, but if you get one from a restaurant or something, like they can be very good. And so, yeah, it just depends on what you put in there.
All right. Well, Cricket, we're glad that you're not sick.
Yeah.
And that you're back and ready to go. We can talk about Christmas. We can talk about Christmas now.
Next, yes,
you ready?
Exactly. Yes.
Next. Coming up next, Christmas.
Yeah,
but first, before we get to Christmas,
we did our tree yesterday. So,
really?
Yeah.
We were supposed to do something with our lights last night, but we ended up just doing the Christmas cards instead. So we didn't get to the lights yet. So they still have the Thanksgiving lights on there, but we'll probably get to that this week. We have theater tomorrow night, so probably not tomorrow night. All right. Before we get to Christmas, though, we got to get to traffic today. Get you home every 20 minutes on the 5s. Here's Cricket.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Some slowdowns on Craycroft at Pima, Craycroft at Speedway, also busy. Reported collisions Mary and Cleveland Way, west of Colossal Cave Road. Grant Road and Wilmot with some westbound slowing. La Cañada and McGee, Ahaway and Mission, backups there as well. Also reported Campbell and Fort Lowell and Sarita Road and Rancho Sarita Boulevard. 50 are overnight low and partly cloudy skies. Morning clouds tomorrow and 74, 72, and sunny now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex 12-Hour DM.
Season 4 just launched. You up for a night of binging?
Yeah, I took Mucinex 12-Hour DM. Its bilayer tablet takes care of my cough and chest congestion for a full 12 hours.
Cool, let's do this.
Buy Mucinex 12-Hour DM now for 12-hour cough and chest congestion relief. Use as directed.
Not all sports stations are built the same way. 1290 has Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball, plus the NFL and the Super Bowl. Tucson trusts 1290. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey, Scott Lehman here from Premier Auto Center. Check out this month's Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar powered by Premier Auto Center.
Visit the Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar at wildcatsradio1290.com to find out what community events are coming up in the Tucson area. You can also find Wildcats Radio 1290 events, upcoming sporting events, and more. Get the details and get involved with our community at wildcatsradio1290.com.
I'm Scott Lehman, and I'm a dealer for the people.
Direct from Vegas, the Clairvoyance Holiday Spectacular, a brand new interactive show for the holiday season, featuring mind reading, magic tricks, and illusions, with a special appearance by Mr. Coney Hondini, the world's first mind-reading dog. Saturday, December 23rd, 8 p.m., Diamond Center at Desert Diamond Casino Saurita. On sale at Desert Diamond Rewards Center or online at etix.com. Experience the Clairvoyance live.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Wow, Well, boss, how's the sleigh?
It's amazing. Like it just flew off the showroom floor. Sparkling clean, no chimney dust, and I've never seen his nose so bright.
Recon Auto Detailing.
Recon gift cards to all, and to all a clean ride.
Give Recon Auto Detailing gift cards, and Arizona's premier auto detailing company will come do a basic cleaning or a jaw-dropping full detail, including a ceramic finish for anyone on your list. Get your Recon Auto Detailing gift cards now online at recondetail.com.
Well, it's that time of year. You dress the kids up for the holiday parties, and they hate it. You dress everybody up for the annual holiday card picture, and, well, everybody hates that. You even dress the turkey, and we're pretty sure he's not happy about that. This year, dress up your yard in time for the holidays. Call Dorado Rockin' Materials, and we promise there will be no complaints. Make your yard beautiful and worry-free with their personal service and convenient delivery times. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Shop Cyber Golden Gable deals at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 45% off and save an extra $100 on every $800 you spend on select major appliances. Valid through 11/29. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Listen to the home of the Wildcats wherever you are on your iPhone and iPad by downloading our new app in the App Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
So here's Fafita out of the shotgun. Triangle set to the left, straight back to throw with time, waiting, going deep downfield. He's got a man wide open at 15 to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Arizona. Nobody close to Tetaroa McMillan.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
How in the world was he that wide open? And he was wide open all day long. I asked that question to head coach Jed Fish today at the press conference. You'll hear his response to that just a little bit later. I mean, it was ridiculous how wide open Tetaroa McMillan. I mean, the best receiver in this conference, folks, and maybe one of the best receivers in the nation at this point, was just grossly wide open.
And that was the end of the third. So, I mean, it's not as if he hadn't been killing him all day.
Right, exactly. That wasn't the first throw. I mean, that was into the game. Tetaroa McMillan, though, is your player of the week in the Pac-12 Conference. Offensive player of the week. Mentioned 266 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. Second most receiving yards in a single game in program history. Only Jeremy McDaniel has more, 283 yards back in 1996. 266 yards, the most by any player, any receiver ever in a Territorial Cup game. And this is the first Pac-12 Player of the Week honor for McMillan. He was a freshman of the week honor twice last year. Noah Fafita was the freshman of the week this year.
The crazy thing,
this week, I should say, and I think that's his fourth, if I'm not mistaken.
Crazy thing about Jerry McDaniels is that he had 916 yards that season receiving.
And so, 2 of them came in that game.
Yeah, like a third of them came in that game.
I correct myself. This is the fifth Pac-12 freshman of the week for Noah Fafita. He won it on October 9th, 16th, 30th, November 6th, and now November 25th. 5 times he's been the freshman of the week. Pretty impressive for that young man from Juice County, California. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get on the program. Let's talk to our guy, Paul in Phoenix. Paul, you've had a few days to digest this. What are your thoughts now on Arizona's big win over ASU?
I've made it a point to make sure my folks up here that I'm in these several group text strings from Phoenix. They've heard from me. Let's just say that they've heard from me, and I still have another 362 more days or whatever it is until they continue to hear from me. How about that? But you know what, T-Mac, think about this. If things go like they did this year for him next year, stays healthy, the young man will be a first-round draft pick in 2025. Mm-hmm. That's how good he is.
Yeah,
he really is. And David, it was great to hear you talk about the different impressions that you went. You're very impressionable as a kid. I grew up, unfortunately, a Cowboy fan because living in Tucson, that was all they showed that every week. I think. And for some reason, I was a Pittsburgh Pirate fan. and I was a Milwaukee Bucks fan because of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But it's amazing. I remember back in the day with Roman Gabriel, your team, with the Rams and John Hadel and those guys. You guys had some great players on those Rams teams back in the day. And I wish I would have known you were at the game yesterday, the Cardinal game. I'd have loved to hook up with you. I was there.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't too pleased about it. But it is what it is. Excuse me. But I do have something I got to bring up, and I've lost sleep over it. Joking, but I've lost sleep over. I'm going to say it anyway. During the game, during the U of A Tempe Normal game, you were at the game, so you didn't see the commercials, okay? Or actually, excuse me, the in-game production. The four-letter network had their it was an insurance commercial. I won't give them any credit for the insurance commercial, but they do their little, trivia, okay? And the question was something to the effect of, what college did Jedd Fish play football at?
Oh, yeah, I heard
Okay?
I heard when Mark Jones asked that question. I heard that, yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, really? It's like, now there must have been some Tempe Normal intern who thought he'd be really funny and write that. But to me, it's like, really, guys? That's where you're going? It didn't sit well with me. People probably going to say, Paul, let it go. It's just being silly, and it's fine. But it's like, really? They had to do that. But that's okay. Jed still hung 59 on him. And looking back, we should have hung 73 on him, but we missed two opportunities, and that's okay. It's all good. So for anybody out there in Tucson who's a Tempe fan, and I love it how Glenn Howell says it. The Scummies. If there's a fan of the Scummies, well, we got you this year. We got you last year. And you know what? Let's take this momentum in. And, regardless of the fact that, what's his name, Chip Kelly over at UCLA, I'm surprised an announcement hasn't come out already saying he's going to be fired. I'll be surprised if he survives this week. Now, I know they're going to a bowl game. But again, I'm going to be surprised if he survives. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, how about that? I mean, they just put a whooping on the kids from across town in Los Angeles, and then they go home and just lay an absolute egg against their little brothers from the north in California. I would have to think that there might be an opportunity for them to want a fresh start going into this new conference. And just get on the ground running in a different direction. I could definitely see that being the case, and him being gone from there, which is going to again ignite the rumors. Once again, we thought maybe they had quieted down a little bit with UCLA's win over USC, but that's going to ignite the rumors about. Will they now maybe try to come after Jedd Fish and get him back to Los Angeles? It's interesting. Jedd talked about in his press conference today. He was the interim head coach. Well, I believe when they went to the bowl game that year that he was there, he was the interim head coach. And somebody had asked him, what was it like to kind of go through a bowl experience? And he talked about that. So there's history there, obviously, with him. There's also, there was talk today again about, his contract extension at the press conference. He made it clear, and it was interesting the way that he said this in the press conference today, which leads me to believe that he's not going anywhere, because he said, I want to make sure my assistant coaches are taken care of first, which didn't make a lot of sense to me when he said it, because I was like, well, what if you're going to take care of your assistant coaches and then you're going to leave? You could leave, and then a new coach comes in, and what does that mean? So that the way he said that made me believe that, okay, well, one, he's if he's thinking about his assistant coaches first, he's not thinking about leaving, and or they've already got a deal done for him to stay. And he's already got a contract extension last year, and it's just the way it works. I mean, people say, well, they extended him last year, why would they extend him again this year? Well, yeah, you got to, because that's just the way it works in college sports. So if he's thinking along those lines, that I'm going to make sure my coaches, my assistants are taken care of first, that leads me to believe that he's not going anywhere.
I just think the dumb, typical nature of modern social media being so negative driven.
Yeah.
It was 3 years ago that the bulk of online people said The
Why
Arizona
did they hire
Wildcats
him?
cannot win with Jed Fish as their head. Cannot win.
Right.
This was the narrative. Cannot win. And here we are 2.5 years later. The Arizona Wildcats cannot win without Jed Fish as their head coach. Like, we're 2.5 years later. He's going somewhere else. It's just because of that sky's falling. If it bleeds, it leads, DK. You know all about this from your previous stop. So the idea that it's always going to be a negative-driven conversation at this stage, I'm just looking at the 6 consecutive wins, good bowl game coming up. And, obviously he likes it here.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, why the bulk of the conversation is about he is, as if it's a stated fact. Why would he stay? That whole thing. Here we go again. Arizona's going to go. And you know all about this, Paul. I mean, there's just this sky is falling typical kind of feeling from a lot of the Arizona fan base because, again, the few times in our lifetime where they've had really, really successful years, they haven't parlayed that into a successful 5 or 10 year stretch.
Correct. You're right. No, you're right. So, J-Dub, I have a question for you. So, who's we're 14, right? We moved up to 14. Who's 10, 11, 12, and 13? I mean, because again, we know we're not going to get the New Year's Six Bowl or whatever they call it. But who are those teams ahead of us? I mean, are those teams that shouldn't we have jumped a little bit higher than that?
Well, so much of it, right,
you
is
still
conference.
have 3 losses. I mean, when you look at that, I mean, when you look at LSU is the only 3-loss team that's ahead of us.
Okay.
And then it's Oklahoma at 12, Ole Miss at 11, and Penn State at 10.
Yeah, and LSU's one spot ahead of Arizona.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with those affiliations, right, DK?
Exactly.
I mean, all those bowls are already predetermined by the conferences outside of the playoff. There's bowl determinations, affiliations, and that switches every year now that they've tied in a lot of those traditional bowls into the college playoff system. So it's just a matter of the affiliations already being in place, Paul. So that's why you may be not hearing Arizona mentioned in the bowls that they should be based on the football they're playing right now. It's just kind of already set in stone. So, Alamo
or the Holiday?
Yeah, something like that.
Vegas. Or Vegas, yeah. Well, I guess the thing, I'll just keep saying it. We'll keep stacking wins. Let's stack wins for next year because next year it is a 12-team playoff. So let's stack a bunch of wins next year, and who knows? You never know.
Next year, that's 12. So, I mean, how they're going to do that, what, Power 6 winners plus 6 at large? I mean, have they determined even how they're going to do that?
You know what? I think, didn't they determine that they were going to go to 12 before all the conference movement, right? So they're all kind of like scrambling because is the Big 12 next year, is it going to be broken up into a north, south, east, west type of thing? Or is it going to be one big winner take all type, or, the top 2 places play in their championship game? How's that going to work out? Has that been determined?
I don't know that. I've not heard anything about divisions to this point.
I haven't heard anything either. Yeah.
No.
Well, they did the schedule put out. They put the schedule out, and they do have linked a lot of that. They're calling it like the mountain region or whatever. So Utah, Colorado, Arizona, a lot of ASU, a lot of these teams are going to be playing each other rather than flying across the country. So there is a divisional sense, but it's not split east-west or north-south or anything like that.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey guys, thanks again. I had to get my little dig in because I know what that 4-letter network was doing with their little question. And I thought, come on, guys. But
it's just trivia, Paul. Trivia. It's just trivia. I mean, you gotta find it. I mean, it's actually. I thought when I heard it, I thought it was. I mean, it's grating because we know the story, but again, it goes back to what Louis Riddick said during the broadcast. There's so many people out there that don't know anything about Arizona. He put out a tweet after the game. It's like people need to look past what they know because they're missing a great receiver in Tetero McMillan because, again, Arizona's not at the forefront. They're not at the forefront. So, it was a trivia question about who we are and who this program is. I didn't have a problem.
Hey, Paul, there is one thing you could sleep better tonight knowing, which is that Kenny Dillingham is 5'6", and he never played college football either.
No, exactly.
Oh, he didn't? Oh.
No, he tore his ACL. He tore his ACL when he was a junior, and he started coaching at Chaparral as a senior. So he has credit as a assistant coach, while he was still in high school and has been coaching ever since. So, he never played college football.
I will have to. I did not know because my best friend always reminds me. Oh yeah, your coach. Oh, the tennis coach. I forgot. That's right. He's a tennis coach. Like whatever. So okay, thank you. Thanks, C-Dub. See, that's why I call this great show.
We're here to brighten up your day, Paul.
There you go. Thanks, guys. Hey, bear down. Talk to you guys later. Happy holidays.
All right, bear down, Paul. Appreciate you as
Bye.
always.
Bye.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program by call or by text. Let's throw out, since we have a few more minutes in this segment, let's throw out our question of the day. And obviously, with the big win by the Arizona Wildcats on Saturday, there's talk now of, will the Wildcats retaliate with a billboard of their own? And I'm going to get into the depth of this whole billboard conversation because I think actually Arizona were the people that actually started this. Not necessarily around a football game, but we'll dive into where how this whole billboard thing really kind of got going here in Arizona. But the question of the day, if you were going to erect a billboard as a result of this game, where would you put that billboard? Okay. They put their billboard kind of right out there, a little bit south of the city on the way to Tucson. So everybody that was driving up from Tucson could see it going into the city. Would you put a similar billboard there, or would you put it in the heart of the city? That's the question. We'll dive into this a little bit more on the other side. Where would you put that billboard, that 59 to 23 billboard? Would you put it on I-10 between the two cities, or would you put it on I-10 in the heart of Phoenix? We'll talk about that on the other side. DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. And on golf links near Wilmot, just east of the intersection, an apartment fire reported. You might see fire crews on scene. Crashes, La Cañada and McGee. We've got Mary and Cleveland Way west of Colossal Cave Road. Grant and Wilmot with some westbound slowing. Campbell and Fort Lowell, Rancho, Sarita Boulevard and Sarita Road, and also Ajo Way and Mission was slowing at Ajo and Mission. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy and 50 the low. Morning clouds and 74 are high tomorrow, 72 and sunny now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Big O Tires. Come to Big O Tires for the big Black Friday sale now through December 3rd and get up to 140 instant savings off select in-stock Michelin tires at Big O. Just in time for your holiday travel plans. Details at bigotires.com. The team you trust.
Hey guys, I have a riddle. I hate it already. I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise. You're an Alaskification. Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask. Alaskification. You're an Alaskification. Don't spoil it for Ron. Alaskification. When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I? Alaskification. How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaskification from Alaskan AC is the finest furnace tune-up in town.
Everybody also knows Alaskan AC guarantees no breakdowns for a year.
And everybody also knows it helps you save money on your utilities.
Wow, how quickly did you figure it out? As soon as you said, I like to dress up in costumes. I never said that. I know what I heard. Ron?
That kind of gave it away.
What do you guys know? I'm going to go take care of our customers with our world-famous Alaskifications.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
Don't forget your fluffy tail. Oh, thanks.
Can't get enough of your Arizona Wildcats? Make sure to stop by Taco Bell in the spring for a meet and greet opportunity with some of your Arizona men's basketball players at Taco Bell. Pick up your favorite Taco Bell combo and live Moss with an autograph or photo from Kylan Boswell and Keyshawn Johnson. Taco Bell, locally owned and operated, and proud partner of Arizona Athletics. Bear down and live Moss.
The moments that matter to Wildcats fans are only on 1290. Whether we win,
put together a solid one tonight. Arizona 31, Texas El Paso 10. That's your final.
Or whether we lose.
For review, the runner's elbow was down with the ball short of the 15-yard line.
1290 is always there by your side to bring you all the raw emotion of the moments that matter to Wildcats fans. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 520-497-4955. That's 520-497-4955. 520-497-4955.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. It looks like our long, hot summer is finally over, and cooler temperatures are great news for us and mostly good news for your car. But for some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires, and then get back to enjoying the cooler temperatures. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drive up. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. If you were going to erect a billboard as a result, if the University of Arizona was going to erect a billboard as a result of this Territorial Cup victory on Saturday, 59-23, where would you put it? Would you put it on I-10 between the two cities? Would you put it somewhere in the heart of Phoenix? Right now, head on over to our Twitter page at Wildcats1290. We've got a poll up. You can vote there right now. 87% saying put it right in the heart of the city of Phoenix. That's what they're saying right now.
Caller Chris, who's a longtime loyal caller, she doesn't always have time to get on the air, but she just called in, and she has a different take. She would like to see him wait until they have a three-peat and then put a billboard up.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Give it a little bit of a different spin there. Coming back here next year, going to be favorite, obviously, and that would be a good idea. I don't disagree with that at all. All right, I said I went to the Cardinals game yesterday, and we'll dive into that. I wasn't that impressed with the energy inside State Farm Stadium yesterday. My wife actually in the third quarter looked over to me and said, "This game is boring." So that's not a good thing if you're the Cardinals.
I've heard a lot of people express that opinion just about the NFL in general this year.
You know, and it's weird because, like I said, I hadn't been to a game since probably 18 or 19. But that was our Miller Lite Pigskin Challenge game on last week, and we welcome back John Bailina, who unfortunately is now a two-time loser at this.
Yeah.
John, I hear you're out on the links. Where are you playing golf today?
El Conquistador.
Ooh, wait, which course? Which course are you playing?
What is it? Sunset or was it? It was Canada or Conquistador.
Okay, the Conquistador course. Okay, so you're on
89.
You're on the west side. You're on the west side. I played. I played the Push Ridge, the 9-hole Push Ridge course a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday. My wife and I went up and played that one. That was I'd never played that one before. It was they've done a great job of putting that course back together.
We played with a member over here, and he was talking about the greens up there. How'd you like the greens up there?
They were fast. They were really, really fast.
Yeah, and they're not very flat either, are they?
No. A lot of downhill putts. I think pretty much every green there was a downhill putt. It was like, oh my gosh.
I actually played golf with you one time, like 9 holes out there at the golf club at Vistoso when it was open in like a scramble.
Oh, is that right? I remember that. Yep. I remember that golf tournament. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing out there at Vistoso. Yeah. Outstanding. Well, John, you took the Cardinals.
Yeah, I hope you have a consolation prize.
You know what the constellation prize is because you've gotten it twice now.
Second time around. I enjoyed it, though.
I was trying to get you some money. Wait, let's hear what you had to say from last week here. Who are you going to take?
Arizona.
Arizona. Wow. Why are you're going with Vegas? Why are you taking the Cardinals over the Rams?
Because I think the bucket is worth more than $50.
There you go. The bucket is indeed worth more than $50, right?
I nailed it.
Who are you going to give the bucket? You going to keep the bucket this time, or are you going to give it to one of your friends?
Well, my daughter was in town last time I won the bucket, and I think she got a couple of the shirts, and her husband got a couple of the glasses. So
all right.
I'm going to get all of it now.
There you go. Yeah, it was. I went up to that game on Sunday, John, and let me tell you, it was not that exciting. It was not that the first drive, the first part of the game was actually not bad. I mean, both teams went down and scored on their first possessions, and Kyler looked pretty good. But then the Rams quickly figured him out, and it was all downhill from there.
You know what's exciting is watching like the Red Zone on YouTube TV.
Oh yeah,
man, I get just so like my heart gets pumped up. It's like highlights. It's crazy.
My wife had never watched the Red Zone, I think, until this year, because we're Browns fans. We have a Browns bar we normally go to, but we've kind of dialed back in recent years from going to the bar every Sunday. We just kind of pick and choose our Sundays to go now, and so she's been watching more of the Red Zone at home to just kind of keep up with the Browns and what they're doing. And she's like, "Oh my God, this is so cool! It's like they go to every game and." It's like the best parts of the drives and all that, and she just absolutely loves it now.
Hey, when we played together, you remember that joke I told you?
I don't. I just remember you. I don't know if you were the one or maybe one of your friends was the one that told me I had bad equipment. Well, guess what, John? I still have that same equipment.
Well,
that's actually on my Christmas list this year. My dad actually sent me a nice fat check for my birthday, so my wife was like, "You should go out and buy some new golf clubs with that check."
Can I tell you the joke on the air?
Please, as long as you don't get me shut down by the FCC.
Well, you asked me. You said, "Hey, John, how did you get out today to play golf?" I said, "Well, I set my alarm for 5:30. It went off, and I looked at my wife, and I said, golf course or intercourse?" And she said, "Don't forget your sweater."
I think I remember that joke, John. Nice, John. Well, I don't know.
Pretty clean.
I might let you. What are we in week 12? I might give you another chance on week 18 if you want to try to call back and win then.
I'll be there, baby. I'm not going nowhere.
All right, hit them. You guys done? Or are you still playing?
We finished really quick. We played in about 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, nice. Now you're at the 19.
they put us on the members side, so we just breezed right
Oh,
through
there
that.
you go. Now you're at the 19th hole, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go. The best place to be. John, I appreciate you participating and calling, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, keep up the good work.
Thanks,
See ya.
John.
Oh, wait. Hey,
Right.
is JW related to John Madden?
Yeah, we're all related. He's like a fifth cousin.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate you. That's funny. It's funny you said that because so the Rams have this tight end named Tyler Higbee,
right?
Who the Cardinals just absolutely could not cover yesterday. I'll have to look up what his final numbers was, but he scored 2 touchdowns. He was wide open all day. I don't know. I mean, now granted, the Cardinals are dealing with a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, so I will throw them the caveat there. Kazir White, who's been outstanding this season at linebacker, was out yesterday, and they've had a number of injuries up front as well. Roy Lopez, though, started yesterday. Roy Lopez, who went to Marcos Denisa High School up in Tempe, played most of his career over at New Mexico State, and then transferred as a grad transfer and played his final season here at the U of A. He started in that ball game yesterday on the defensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. But Tyler Higbee he only had 5 catches. He ended up only having 5 catches for 29 yards. But he was wide open on the 2 touchdowns that he scored. And so we have this. We had this department store in Ohio called Higbee's. And so it's funny you said that. Oh yeah, we're all related because me and my wife were talking about. I wonder if he's related to the Higbee people from that own the department store in Cleveland. So I spent half the game because it got boring. So I spent half the game looking up to try to find out if I could connect Tyler Higbee of the Rams to the Higbee folks that built a department store in
Were
Cleveland
you
back in the
successful?
day. I was not.
Oh.
I was not successful in the least.
Well, let's see. Tyler was born in Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah. Well, that could, people retire from Cleveland to Florida.
Sure. And Higbee's is like a 1800s kind of place,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it was founded in the 1800s.
So his great times 10 grandpa.
Could
maybe.
be. Yeah, I'd be interested if I ever got a chance to interview him to find that out.
The Madden thing, I've told the story many times, but a tradition in Ireland is firstborn sons in Madden clan are all John William. So
Really?
Coach Madden is John William. My father is John William. I'm actually the 4th. My mom's dad was Jack, which is a nickname for John. But John William Madden.
So the
is
coach,
very
John
common.
Madden, is actually John
Yes.
William Madden.
Correct.
Wow.
All of there are many John William Maddens in the world. Firstborn son tradition thing. That's why.
Wow. So and so this is Ireland, you said.
Yes, there's
Okay.
a whole. I think it's Cork County. There's a castle from the 1500s. The whole deal. So yeah, going way back. Firstborn John William.
So did you ever, when you were working in the bar industry, did you ever think about opening up your own Irish bar or anything of that nature?
No, not necessarily. Just because at the time I was doing that is when craft beers kind of came about.
Mm-hmm.
My first beers I drank were Anchor Steam and Sierra because and a lot of stuff from England because you really couldn't get all the beers we think of today. The craft beers, they all kind of came about in the early 90s.
Right.
I lived in Central Oregon, actually, late 80s. So a lot of those Central Oregon breweries as well were just coming up. But there really was a groundswell for what we see today, which is just nothing but it. But I don't know, bars are fun to be in when you have a choice, DK. But if you own a bar and you have to be there because competition's very fierce, because there's a lot of bars out there, especially in this town. I never thought to myself that's going to be a dream one day is to own a bar. I like sitting at a bar stool and having a sip of whiskey or pale ale, but owning wasn't in the cards.
No. Okay. Well, that's you never know. You never know. I always said that if I wanted to own a sports bar, because I don't think people really know how to run sports bars well. And I tell a story about, I think there was a sport. It used to be, well, it's actually where the parish is now.
Right.
Used to be a sports bar back in the day. And I remember I went in there. It's when I first moved here, like 9 or 10, I think. And I want to say the Diamondbacks were in the playoffs.
Right.
And I went there one night. I figured I was out on a sales call. I was working at IMG. I was on a sales call. I'll stop in there and watch the first part of the game. It was a day game. and they didn't have the game on. The bartender didn't know how to get the game on.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you're calling yourself a sports bar.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer when you walk into a place that has 27 TVs and nobody knows how to use a remote. That doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't. And that was when I said, I really need to own my own sports bar so that I could just blow these people out of the water. But that's another story.
I worked at the Depot for a while, and they had a good deal where they would put speakers on the tables, and you could pick the television you wanted to listen to. I always liked that style.
Yes, that was very 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, it's a good style.
That was, and I think, I remember you said, I remember that because when I think the first time I went to the Depot, they still had that back in the day. And it was funny because we were just talking about that too. I think my wife and I were talking about that recently. It's like, remember when you could like go and they would you had the speaker and you could get sound on your game, and it's like now you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's smart. I don't know why that died.
Smart, because you got a wall of TVs. How many games are on at any one time? 12?
Right.
So, you could have all the games. You could just pick which one you listen to while you're watching them all.
I think
switch back and forth.
What's the place on the West Grant? Rusty's. I think they had that at one time too. I don't know if they still do, but I know they had. They either had that or they just had like the little small TVs in the booth,
right,
where you could put sound on there, and you could either watch it there or you could listen to it there and watch it on one of the bigger TVs.
They do still have that. They're called smartphones, and that kind of changed everything. So.
But you can't like sync a smartphone to what you're actually watching on TV.
But you can watch high definition video in real time
That's
on
true.
that thing. So
That's true.
It kind of defeats the purpose of the whole sports bar experience.
That does. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So let's that's the end of the first hour. Let's go on to hour number 2. We'll get into the Suns win streak. You'll hear from Devin Booker and Frank Vogel on Book's big shot yesterday at Madison Square Garden. We'll talk about Sabino. Sabino is state champions in football. I'm trying to get those kids. We're going to reached out to them. We're going to see if we can get as many kids as we can. You think we could fit the whole team inside here?
In that
if they wanted to bring the entire team?
Yeah, maybe one or the other, offense or defense.
I used to do that a lot on TV when schools when somebody would win a state championship. I'd like to say, if you want to bring the whole team, fine, but I can only put like 6 or 7 of them on stage at one time. But if you want to bring everybody's, that's cool. So I used to love to bring in the teams when they would win state championships. So I'd like to continue that here on radio. So I've made a reach out. We're going to see if we can get the Sabino squad in here. If not this week, maybe before the month of December is out. We've got some programming stuff we'll tell you about as well. It's DK on the Sports Tip. I'm David Kelly, JW Madden, Cricket. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Ajo and Mission crash clearing slowing at the intersection. Other collisions at Campbell and Fort Lowell. La Cañada and McGee in Oro Valley, Oracle, and Linda Vista. Grant Road and Wilmot with westbound slowing, and also Mary Ann Cleveland way west of Colossal Cave Road. Slowdowns on Craycroft at Pima, Swan at Grant, Swan and Speedway, and also Craycroft and Speedway. Partly cloudy skies, 50 overnight is our low. Morning clouds and 74 tomorrow and 71 and sunny now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer. Time is of the essence with COVID-19. Prescription oral treatment must be taken within the first 5 days of symptoms. If you have a high risk factor, ask your doctor if treatment is right for you. Learn more at treatcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This November, I'm grateful for the most thrilling casino action around.
Not to mention next level fun and unbeatable winning.
You got it.
Find it all at Desert Diamond Casinos.
And this month is all about the excitement.
You bet it is.
At Tucson, there are giveaways galore. Come out every Thursday for Road to Riches, where there are over $100,000 in prizes up for grabs. Plus, there's 10K Saturday, Diamond Sunday Bingo, and more.
I'm there.
At Saurita, there are more great events, plus incredible entertainment all month at the Diamond Center Saurita.
Count me in.
Then make your picks each week to score your share of over $1 million. It's $1 Million Pro Football Frenzy at Tucson, Saurita, and Y.
That's true, Tucson.
It's always a good time at Desert Diamond Casinos.
True.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
See Reward Center for details.
Everyone Everyone is talking about the Cats and where to find them on the radio.
Wildcat Radio, 1290 AM on your dial. Just talking all day long.
Keep your radio locked to 1290 so you don't miss any of the action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcat fans, join head coach Adia Barnes and the Arizona women's basketball team in McHale Center this season. Season tickets are on sale now. You won't want to miss the fierce competition coming to Arizona. Season tickets are available now at ArizonaWildcats.com/WBK. Arizona women's basketball. Let's pack McHale Center.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Good news, everybody.
We stay on the air with you for an extra 2 hours after every Arizona football and men's basketball game all season long. That's why we are the home of the Wildcats. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else, with the biggest pre- and post-game coverage in the Pac-12. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Booker comes free. He's going to hold it, not get any time left on the clock. That's the expectation. Quickly looking to help out. Here comes Quickly. Get it to Goodwin. Back to Booker. Booker on the drive. Booker puts up a three. Oh, he puts it in with 1.7 remaining. Devin Booker with the clutch three. And the Knicks call timeout. Not a good shot. Looked like he didn't want to take the shot. And he seemed to just throw the ball up to the hoop. Watch this. Doesn't seem like he wants to take the shot. And then you see, well, I got to get it off. Just throw it up there. It's Devin Booker after a slow start, a rough first half where he was just 2 of 8 from the field with some big buckets and big plays here in the fourth quarter.
Do you think he wanted to take that shot? I mean, that's Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker never shies away from the moment. Walt Frazier there on the call of that game. I think, what do you think, J-Dub? You think Booker was not wanting to take that shot? Did he, I mean, it sounded to me, if you listen to him in the postgame, that he planned to get the ball back and take a shot.
Okay, so I'm a little too young to have seen Walt Clyde Frazier play, but from my understanding, that was his style, right? He was very much take a shot when you weren't expecting him to kind of guy, and a lot of off-balance mid-range stuff. So I don't know. I mean, that's in at Madison Square Garden. clearly he's been the announcer there and a player there for 45 years. A little homerism there, but from my eyes, that was super calculated. I mean, he got space. He was doubled as he was. If anybody's watched Suns games, for the past 6 years, Devin Booker commands doubles every time he touches the ball, 40 feet away from the bucket or not. Now, with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal at all, there's less of a chance that he can get doubled because, there's a lot of safety valves there who can do it on their own too. But with KD out for that game, DK, I mean, that was the first three he made all game long, was that one. Yeah. But from my perspective, he gave the ball up with about 5 seconds to go, got it right back, a little hesitation dribble to create some space, and he was pure. I mean, he was as squared as you could be to the basket, and it was perfect form. I think it was just a perfect shot. Devin Booker makes that shot, 9 out of 10 times under duress. He's just that good.
28 points, 11 assists. We talked a few weeks ago how many triple-doubles. He only had 5 rebounds, so we still don't have that first triple-double yet from Devin Booker. And the rebounds is going to be the challenging part of that. But an 11-assist performance for D. Book there. And as you mentioned, without Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal still out, obviously. So you only had one of the big three on the road against a pretty good Knicks team. They're kind of hovering around 500 right now, but that's still a talented group with Jalen Brunson, who hit the shot. Beautiful shot off the elbow to put that game in a position to be tied at that particular point. He finished with 35 points. Did Jalen Brunson in that game to go along with 6 rebounds and 8 assists. But the Suns have won 7 games in a row.
The most impressive thing to me is 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
So he's playing point guard now, even though he's listed as a shooting guard. I mean, Devin Booker is the de facto point guard. Under that pressure, I'm telling you, watch a game. He gets doubled more than anybody right now, Giannis and Booker. It's like Booker gets doubled every time he touches the ball. So only having 2 turnovers there. The Knicks aren't necessarily a great on-ball stealing type of team, but they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the whole league. So, yeah, I mean, a really, really impressive performance. I just don't get surprised anymore. I was maybe late to the Booker party. I saw the, huge game he had when he was 19, obviously, when the Suns were bad. But watching that ride, the first bubble trip, we watched all 8 of those games, Paige and I, and then watching that trip to the finals, he's just so calm. The biggest thing about shooting guards and scorers is when you don't get too high or low, right, DK? I mean, a guy like that is just impossible to rattle. And so because Booker has, one of the better scoring packages. Going back, we should really revisit that poll we did about best scorers under 25. I think Devin Booker is the best scorer in the NBA under 25, he and Luka. However, I think what I was really talking about with that story about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the deepest bag of tricks, really. The deepest bag is what they call it. So I think Shai may have a little bit of a deeper bag as far as that, herky-jerky Allen Iverson style ball handling. But I think Booker's the best scorer. I think Booker's the best 2-guard in the NBA, personally.
Yeah, and he got some help from his fellow shooting guard, Eric Gordon, in that game, who knocked down 6 threes. That was a large reason that the Suns were able to be in that position to win the game at the end on the road. Now 7 straight victories to move to 11-6 as we get down close to the end of this the in-season tournament right now. The Suns look like they're going to be the second team out of that. Out of the Group A, I think. How does it work? Is it one?
Here's how it works. Basically, all the groups are done except for one series of games, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's Milwaukee, Miami, Golden State, Sacramento, Chicago, Boston, Toronto, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Cleveland, Charlotte, New York, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, and Houston, Dallas. Those will all be in-season tournament games tomorrow. Every game a team that I did not mention, they've already finished their 4 games in the pool play. And the way it works is the winner of each pool moves on. And then there are 2 wild cards from each side, the East and the West. So there'll be 8 total teams that advance. So basically, with all the tiebreakers after the dust is settled after tomorrow night's games, currently the Pacers have advanced. They're 4-0. Also, let's see. The Lakers are 4-0. They've advanced. And the other divisions are still waiting. So the Kings are 3-0, but they need to play one more game. And also, same with the Bucks are 3-0. They need to play another game. The Group C in the East, Orlando has 3 wins and 1 loss, but they haven't clinched yet because Boston still has yet to play a game. And only the top team out of all 3 A, B, and C groups in each conference, so Western and Eastern Conference, the 2 teams that have the highest win totals and then the tiebreakers over those other teams because there obviously will be tiebreakers with only 4 games total being played. 8 teams total will advance from each one. There'll be 16 teams moving forward to that Vegas championship.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, is point differential the tiebreaker?
I believe it's head-to-head first. That's usually how they do it. So, I mean, there's a lot of these teams that are playing each other. So if you have a head-to-head win over a team, they both finish 3-1, for instance, I think that supersedes. But then they'll go into point differentials and all that other stuff.
Okay, because I believe the Suns are in a pretty good position in terms of point differential. I think they're 8.5, which is the best among the teams that could potentially be in that second place mix there. So we'll have to see how that all kind of
Since we're
plays
talking
out.
point differential, I want to bring something to your attention if you're not familiar. But the Indiana Pacers, who I've followed a lot since Ben Matherin's got there, and obviously TJ being there. Right now, currently, DK, the Pacers are averaging 128.8 points per game. 128.8 points. Now, this would be, obviously, we're only less than 20 games into the season. It's all going to balance out. But that would be the highest average total of all time. That would be the most points any team has ever averaged in the NBA. Now, I pulled up the 20 highest scoring teams in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
You remember this because, I mean, you've been a fan for a while. It was all 60s and 80s, right? So in the 60s, of the 20 teams with the highest point scoring average for a whole season, 14 of those teams came from the 60s. And 4 of them came from the 80s. All Nuggets teams. With Alex English, Kiki Vanderway, Fat Lever, Dan Issel, David Thompson, all those teams. Only one of the top 20 teams is from this era, and it's last year's Sacramento Kings team. They finished 19th all-time in scoring average. So that was an era with very little defense. The pace was outrageous. Everybody was just running up and down the court and shooting as soon as they got a look. And it's just not like that anymore. People kind of may joke about there not being defense in modern NBA, but really, if you look at the schemes and the want to, it's the opposite. There's a lot of, it's just that the refs and the rule changes have made it much more advantageous for the offensive player in today's NBA. But seeing the Pacers, we talked earlier about how the Arizona Wildcats have so many double-figure scores this year in basketball. 8 Pacers are currently averaging double figures. 8.
Wow.
They're averaging 30.8 assists a game. Tyrese Halliburton is 5-to-1 assist to turnover right now. So he's averaging 12 assists and 2.5 turnovers per game. Just crazy numbers.
Wow. It is. I mean, it seems if you look on a nightly basis, I think if you look, it seems, I mean, it's interesting you said that because it just seems to me like the scoring is higher now than it's been in recent years. And I was beginning to kind of wonder why that was, why we're seeing a lot of, we're kind of getting back to seeing those 120 plus 120 games every single night.
Yeah.
Where for a long time we weren't seeing those types of scores in the NBA.
I think it's two-factor. Number one, there's more shot makers than there's ever been by a large margin. Go watch just pick a. Okay, before let me preface this. I was going to say pick 2 teams out of a hat and go watch that game, but do not watch the Wizards versus the Pistons tonight because those 2 teams are 2-14. That's 2-14 teams going at it tonight. But if you go just pick a random game and watch it, you'll see shot makers all over the court. And the second part of that is no rim defense, no rim protection. So in the Shaquille O'Neal era, every team had to have 2 or 3 300-pound, 7-1 guys, even if they couldn't play basketball, just to get in there and bang around with Shaq. But now that we're in the Steph Curry era, it's so much more open and free-flowing. If you look at the rosters outside of Minnesota, there isn't a lot of rim protection. There aren't a lot of big guys out there. And so because of those two factors, shot makers is the real reason. There's so many skilled offensive players right now in the NBA. I think it's not so much a lack of effort on defense. It's just that the offense is so much better and all the rules are, again, advantageous to the offensive player. So any kind of touchy foul is going to go against the defense. Charge calls are kind of dumb and ridiculous these days. And they wanted to see offense. It all stems from that early 2000s. Remember the Cavs were with Fratello were averaging 94 points a game. Yeah. Atlanta was the same. So they made some rule changes, 15 years ago. And what we're seeing now is just a bunch of highly skilled offensive players just showing what they do. And that's what that's what the fans want to see. They want to see players, you want to see high pointing sideline, receptions by guys like T-Mac. That's what people want to see. And you don't want to see, in general, the 7 to 10 football scores. And it's the same thing. Same in baseball. You want to see a lot of home runs. You want to see excitement. Unless it's 2 Cy Young Award winner potentials, going at it for 9 innings and having a 1-0 game. That's great too. But the average fan out there wants to see excitement.
All right, let's hear from Frank Vogel, the head coach of the Suns, on that last shot by Devin Booker.
Yeah, it's something we talked about pregame. We knew with Kev out, they were going to double team him a lot. And, it's a different league than it used to be. It used to be low post, double teams, and the repost was common, right? You fake the swing and then repost it back into Shaq or whoever. Now it's perimeter ISO heavy in the modern NBA, and there's a lot of situations where we swing the ball out of the double team and work it around the wheel, and other guys got to make plays, but the defense wins because they took the ball out. So we've been talking about a return to sender concept, whether it's a redrive on the backside, get the ball back to the original guy, or just a quick pass fake and go back to him like Goody did. Okay, and couldn't throw it, but he handed back to him, and it's Devin Booker, man. Guy's cold-blooded, big-time shot.
Curious when they had 2 guys over there. It looked like them dribbling over them, like they were ready to shoot it. But when you're watching, I'm just curious what you're thinking when you're seeing him going to a spot. Is it normal to be pulling that with 2 guys around?
I think it's pretty normal. Him going to his right, looking for airspace. We see him make that shot not that far away from the basket, but we see him make that shot on the right side of the floor pretty frequently. He's got his little inside-out move that he can get the defense back on their heels just a little bit, just to create a little bit of airspace, and that's all he needed.
Cold-blooded Devin Booker looking for airspace. I love it.
He doesn't need much.
No.
He's got a quick release.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Suns have won 7 games in a row. Want to get in on that? What are your thoughts? 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. We're going to talk more Arizona Wildcats football coming up. Do you want to put a billboard up? Where do you want to put it? You want to put it on I-10 between the 2 cities? You want to put it on right in the heart of Phoenix? I got a lot of people with a lot of opinions on that. We'll read you some. People are weighing in on Facebook. People are weighing in on Twitter. And the vote is happening right now. The vote is unanimously, if the way Arizona was to put one up, would be to put it right in the heart of the city. And we'll dive into this whole billboard thing because, again, this is not new. This didn't just start happening 3 years ago when Arizona State beat the Wildcats 70-7. This actually goes back about 12 years here in Arizona. We'll dive into a little bit of the history of the billboard battle as well. Dana Cooper, though, next, the sideline reporter for the Wildcats, will get his thoughts on the Territorial Cup win. DK on the sports tip, J-Dub, and Cricket now getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. With some slowdowns at Ajo and Mission for southbound and westbound traffic, and southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way for more slowing. Crashes at Oracle and Linda Vista, Oracle and Fort Lowell, also Grant and Wilmot clearing with westbound slowing. Also some slowdowns on Craycroft at Pima. 50 our low with partly cloudy skies overnight. Morning clouds tomorrow and 74 is the high. Sunny and 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer.
Beware, if you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com.
It's no contest, Tucson. You're listening to the home of the Arizona Wildcats. That's why 1290 runs this town. This is the one and only home of your Arizona Wildcats.
And you know this, man!
We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey guys, I have a riddle. I hate it already. I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise. You're an Alaskification. Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask. Alaskification. You're an Alaskification. Don't spoil it for Ron. Alaskification. When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I? Alaskification. How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaskification from Alaskan AC is the finest furnace tune-up in town.
Everybody also knows Alaskan AC guarantees no breakdowns for a year.
And everybody also knows it helps you save money on your utilities.
Wow, how quickly did you figure it out? As soon as you said, I like to dress up in costumes. I never said that. I know what I heard. Ron?
That kind of gave it away.
Bah, what do you guys know? I'm going to go take care of our customers with our world-famous Alaska vacations.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
Don't forget your fluffy tail. Oh, thanks.
Direct from Vegas, the Clairvoyance Holiday Spectacular, a brand new interactive show for the holiday season, featuring mind reading, magic tricks, and illusions, with a special appearance by Mr. Coney Hondini, the world's first mind-reading dog. Saturday, December 23rd, 8 p.m., Diamond Center at Desert Diamond Casino Sahuarita. On sale at Desert Diamond Rewards Center or online at etix.com. Experience the Clairvoyance live.
Shop Macy's Cyber Monday specials for big savings on gifts they'll love, now while supplies last. Like 50 to 65% off warm winter coats, 50 to 60% off party-ready shoes and handbags, and 20 to 65% off the hottest toys of the season from Sharper Image, Discovery, Jeffrey's Toy Box, and more. Plus, get it faster with store pickup at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Hey, I came as fast as I could. What's wrong?
Everything's okay. I just need you to know I'm glowing up.
You just texted SOS Get Here Now.
And I stand by that because I switched to Cricut and got the all-new Motorola Razr. I have entered my flip era, and I am glowing up.
I'm gonna go back home.
I support that.
Switch to Cricut and get the all-new Motorola Razr for $199.99. Smile, you're on Cricut.
Must open a new line on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax to its sale. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Limitations apply.
Amazon's got the best deals on Black Friday. Oh, the best deals are on Cyber Monday. Friday comes first when it comes to saving. Monday's worth the wait for what you've been craving. Deals so good it'll feel like stealing. Real cool message, could you make it less appealing? What's with the beef? You can get that too. Want you call us? What's triggering you? Whichever day you're shopping on, you'll save a bunch at Amazon. Black Friday, Cyber Monday too.
Tucson, we have something free just for Wildcats fans living in Tucson. You can now catch all the play-by-play action of Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball, and no charge on your smart speaker. Ask it to play Wildcats Radio 1290.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale is on with limited quantity deals on top tech. Save on select PCs powered by the latest 12th gen Intel Core processors like thin and light XPS 13 laptops, Inspiron laptops, and 2-in-1s. Plus, get savings on select accessories, free shipping, and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Save today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Wildcats win the 97th Territorial Cup game on Saturday, 59-23 over the Arizona State Sun Devils. Let's talk to the man that was on the sideline reporting on the Wildcats radio network, media network for the game. Dana Cooper joins us always with a great vantage point of what was happening. And Dana, just obviously this is for you a number of years. We go back, we talked about you having a chance to call this game and be on the sidelines. It had been a long time since the Wildcats had tasted victory on that field. There was a prevailing thought that it would be easy, or it would be a pretty a game that the Wildcats could definitely win handily. That was how it turned out, and it just seemed like there was a lot of fun being had on the sideline during that game on Saturday.
Yeah, David, as the old saying goes, good times were had by all. There's no question. And give ASU a lot of credit on their opening drive. They went down there. They kind of punched Arizona in the mouth, and I can't remember if they even threw a pass on their first possession.
No.
They punched it in, and then we didn't hear from them again until like late in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter. So they, Johnny Nansen and everybody made some great adjustments, and then the Arizona offense just wound it up and let fly, and it really was a sight to behold. And with each score, you could see and feel and sense and smell and taste the enthusiasm rising at both ends of the bench. The offense sits down at one end, the defense sits down at the other, and it's kind of like, when you have anchor tenants in a shopping mall, you've got a big department store at one end, another department store at the other end, and then everybody else is in the middle. And those two anchors really had things going, and it really was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun, and they just clicked in virtually every phase of the game. So it was a fantastic day for sure.
As you're down there on a game like that, the Territorial Cup game, what are some of the things that you were seeing and you were looking for, as you were identifying, things to talk about on the broadcast?
Well, for the most part, I think I'm trying to keep my eye on the game itself. That's really the story. Once kickoff starts, then it's really what's going on out on the field. But there were a lot of former alums down on the sidelines too, and understandably so. They came back for that game. The front row on the west side stands, Heath Bray had a cadre of former Wildcats sitting up there, and they were hooting and hollering. And then Lance Briggs was down on the sidelines.
Oh, wow.
Former great player for Arizona and an All-Pro. He was down there. So certainly that game brings out a lot of alums who want to be there and be a part of it. But for the most part, when the kickoff goes, you're really trying to just focus on what's going on the field and look for the most interesting, compelling stories.
When you look at just kind of Noah Fifita as he's gone through this journey over the course of the last 6 weeks, and obviously when he first came in, he was just kind of the redshirt freshman back up off the bench. But how have you noticed his evolvement in leadership from when he stepped on the field at Stanford to where he is now, the guy running this offense?
Yeah. Well, here's a good parallel, David. I've got a framed Sports Illustrated cover on the wall here in my office. I'm looking at it right now, and it's Nick Foles playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this picture was taken. He's set up in the pocket. It was a really big, snowy game. And the headline reads, "A dreadful start, no home wins before November, another winter of discontent looming in Philly, ... And then Nick Foles happened. And you remember that was a breakout game for him, and he went on to do some marvelous things there. But the thing that's always struck me about that headline and Noah, Nick Foles didn't just happen. Nick Foles was ready for his moment, and he'd been ready for a lot of years because of the hard work that he put in with Philadelphia, the hard work he put in here, the hard work he put in high school. So when his moment came, he had a Sports Illustrated cover moment. And I think you could say the same thing about Noah Fifita's ascension and progression. The kid's been playing at a high level for a while. So he didn't just become an overnight sensation. He worked his tail off in practice, and even going back to 8th grade with his buddy T-Mac. And then when he got here, he put in his time, in practice and in the film room and in the coaches' meetings. So when Jaden DeLora went down against Stanford, Noah Fifita didn't just happen. He was ready to go. And the calm, he just doesn't get flustered.
Yeah.
Even when he makes a mistake, and we've seen him make a few mistakes, he doesn't get flustered. He's cool, calm, and collected. He's that way on the sidelines. He obviously is that way out on the field. And this kid has, I think, won the genetic lottery also in a way because he was raised by just fantastic parents who really have raised an incredible human being in those personal characteristics that he has. Clearly are an essential part of his makeup as a football player.
It's interesting. You mentioned obviously the family piece there, Dana, and obviously you're on the field. But do you ever get a chance to get to know any of the parents, whether it's on game day, either beforehand, maybe they're down there hanging on the rail during warmups or anything like that? Have you ever had a chance to kind of get to know any of those folks and hear just kind of how proud they are of their kid and what the story of those kids getting to that point?
Yeah, a couple of instances come to mind, Dave. Before the UCLA game, I spotted Noah's dad sitting up in the front row of the Zona Zoo section up there, and something just told me to go and introduce myself to him. So I did, and what a great man. And I told him how impressed I was with Noah, not just as a player, because obviously he had started to flash his brilliance there. I said, but I've had a chance to talk to your son a couple of times, and the way that he presents himself, the way he communicates, the way he articulates, he's always he's bold about asserting his faith. He's a great young man of faith. And I said, you really have raised a great son. And he says, well, that means as much to us as anything. That's the way his mom and I wanted to raise him. And so you can kind of see where it comes from. That apple didn't fall far from that tree. And then on senior day, I've had a chance to interview Martell Irby a couple of times. And I've been around this place for a while, David, and talked to a lot of players. There is something extra special about that young man. Some of the things that he's gone through, but his faith, his perseverance, his fire, his ability to really care about his teammates and love them and edify them and encourage them. And I wanted to just express that to his mom and dad. So I walked up to them as they were coming off the field and just shared my observations about their son. And they both just gave me this big, enormous bear hug and said that, thank you so much. That's really what I'd always hoped for Martell, is that he would be that kind of young man. So quite often you can see where it comes from. And not everybody, of course, has the benefit of having coming from a home like that. And there's a lot of stories on the team where kids have made the very best of themselves in spite of tough circumstances. But those are, to answer your question, those are two that come to mind.
Dana Cooper joining us. He is the sideline reporter for the Arizona Wildcats radio network with Brian Jeffries and Lamont Lovett. And Dana, I want to ask you this one question, because obviously, you're down on the field, and I've been down on the field a lot in instances as a TV photographer, and we get to see things maybe that the average fan doesn't get to see, and sometimes we get to see things we don't necessarily want to see. I mean, I take people back to, I was, as a manager in college, I had an opportunity to be on the sideline for a USC UCLA game, a rivalry game, and I watched several guys take needles that day to be able to play, which I'd never seen anything like that before. But you kind of that was when the reality of college football finally, you'd read about that stuff. I'd read about that kind of thing, but I'd never actually seen it until that day. But I can remember 2012. I can remember just, I think it was Kadeem Carey just was on the sideline, and he had a rib injury that day, and he was like, is he going to go back in? I mean, he just was. I remember him just kind of wreathing on the bench just because his ribs were just. He was in so much pain, and I'm wondering, just don't go too deep if you don't feel like it, but just was there a time where you saw a kid and said, "There's no way that kid is going back into this game," and he got up and went back into that game?
Nothing comes leaping to mind. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons why nothing comes leaping to mind is because I think there are protocols in place now with the training staffs that are a lot more stringent, perhaps, than they used to be. Certainly that's the case with concussions. But I think, and I give Tyler Owens a lot of credit, the strength and conditioning coach. I try to pay attention to injuries down there, and anecdotally, I can tell you that this year, far fewer guys were walking into the injury tent, the medical tent on the sidelines, than ever before. and that's because the training and the strength and conditioning staff had them ready. And I think out of respect for the players, this coaching staff, they're not going to demand something out of the player that they can't do. For example, Jaden Delora comes to mind. After his ankle sprain, he wanted to go sooner than Coach Fish would let him. But Coach Fish said, we always want to make sure that the player can protect themselves.
Right.
If they can't perform and if they can't escape from a situation, they're not going to put them in a position where they could hurt themselves and obviously hurt the team. So I give the coaching staff a lot of credit for not demanding more out of the player than what they're physically capable of giving in the moment.
Where are we going bowling, Dana? You have a guess?
Well, I'm gonna say the Alamo Bowl.
Okay.
And I think some of that depends on the outcome of Oregon and Washington. I think the loser of that game is probably first in line for the Fiesta Bowl. That's my thought. And then hopefully the winner gets up into the college football playoffs. I think if both Oregon and Washington end up in the college football playoffs, the Fiesta Bowl could be an option. I think that's a little bit less likely. So everything that I've read and been hearing, it's the Alamo Bowl on the 28th, and that's the number one bowl in the Pac-12 alignment and pecking order. So that's a good deal for us. Did you have to spend New Year's Eve in Shreveport, or did you get to go home on the team plane? No, I came back on the team plane with a stomach full of very good Cajun food. I can still taste that back there. That was the one Benny about going back to Shreveport. Give me some more of that Cajun food. Yeah. Dana, we always appreciate you. Another great season of telling stories down on the sideline. We always love hearing what you've got to say from down there, and we'll look forward to it one more time when we find out on Sunday where this team is going bowling this year. Yeah, always happy to do it, David. So thanks for the opportunity, and we'll talk to you soon. Dana Cooper, he is the sideline reporter for the Arizona Wildcats radio network. A great guy, has been in that position, worked with Dana back in the day when I was with IMG. Just a one-class guy in this community, a public speaker for a number of organizations. I mean, you can go to pretty much anything here in town, and Dana Cooper will be the guy up there emceeing it. He's a legend in that respect as well. And as J-Dub mentioned last week, used to be a producer, used to produce the Lute Olson show back in the day, produced a number of team videos back in the day when the Wildcat basketball team was at its height in the 80s and the 90s, a guy that's been around this market for a long, long time. Getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather. Here's Cricket.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Crashes reported in clearing at Oracle and Fort Lowell. Oracle and Linda Vista also crashed Grant and Wilmot, mostly with westbound backups. Slowdowns for traffic on Craycroft. Traffic Craycroft at Pima busy. Also, we've been seeing some slowing for traffic southbound Swan at Speedway. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy, 50 as the low. Morning clouds tomorrow morning, and 74s are high. 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Boost Infinite.
Boost Infinite's new wireless technology switches between networks, giving you the best service at a lower price. Switch today. Call 855-55-BOOST. Visit boostinfinite.com or go to amazon.com and search for Boost iPhone 15.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. It looks like our long, hot summer is finally over, and cooler temperatures are great news for us and mostly good news for your car. But for some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires, and then get back to enjoying the cooler temperatures. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drive up. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
It's the holiday gift grab, and you could win a share of over $90,000 in prizes at Desert Diamond Casino Sahuarita. Fridays in November and December, there are 4 winners every hour.
That's true, Tucson.
Choose or exchange your gift to win up to $750 free play or over $2,500 cash. It's holiday gift grab, only at Desert Diamond Sahuarita.
True.
An enterprise of the Thana Nation.
See Rewards Center for details.
Here at Alaskan AC, we believe every kid in town should have a toy under the tree this Christmas.
And we know you believe that too. So does the United States Marine Corps.
Let's bring that all together and make a big difference this year.
When you donate a new, unwrapped toy to Toys for Tots, Alaskan AC will match it with another toy.
One toy becomes 2.
Or make a donation and we'll match your donation so $1 becomes 2.
You can drop off your toy at our offices or give it to one of our techs working in your home.
Last year, we donated thousands of toys with your help.
Plus over $10,000 to Toys for Tots.
A small donation can make a big difference this Christmas.
Make your donations before December 15th and we'll do the rest.
We'll match every toy you donate.
And match every dollar you donate.
To make Christmas wonderful for every kid in town.
Find out more at AlaskanAC.com.
1290 brings you the passion of football like no one else.
Pittsburgh 12, 3rd and 7 for Mahomes. In the gun, flanked by the running back McKinnon. Shotgun snap, they rush 5, pump fake and a line drive into the end zone, over the shoulder catch in the back corner. It is caught for the touchdown! Grabbed by Pringle!
This season, 1290 will bring you almost 100 NFL and college football games. It's not flexing, it's just the truth. Scoreboard 1290, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to BePestFree.com.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Today on Hey Culligan's Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener, here's Kevin.
Hey Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yup, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
DK on the sports tip on Wildcats Radio.
Off this game, where should U of A put that billboard? Would you put it on I-10 between the two cities? Would you put it on I-10 in the heart of Phoenix? Right now, 88% of you on our Twitter poll at Wildcats1290 saying put it right in the heart of Phoenix. Now, we've got a lot of comments about this. I want to read a few here. Average Superstar checks in. We shouldn't bother. Crushing them should be normal and expected. Andrew says, please don't. ASU fans will laugh that it's not as bad as 70-7. Adam DeDepo, put it honestly as close to ASU Stadium as you can get it. Here's an interesting one. Monte Carlo Wildcat says, how about we erect a billboard with a QR code that sends you directly to our NIL link instead? It's a better use of our money. And that's interesting because after the ball game on Saturday, Kenny Dillingham, the head coach of the Arizona State Sun Devils, was asked what his plans were in the next couple of weeks, and here is what he said. You would think back in the day, a coach would have said recruiting, recruiting, recruiting. Here's what Kenny Dillingham said.
Yeah, I have exit meetings with all the players and staff starting Monday. So 180, 190 meetings, whatever that plays out to be for the next 4 days. And then fundraise. Like, I can go recruit. It's cool. I'm going to go fundraise because that's what the name of the game is nowadays. So what are we doing? I'm going to go and fundraise. Staff's going to go out and recruit players. I'll go out and recruit some players, but I'm recruiting people who want this place to win as well, and that has nothing to do with players. And that's one of the biggest factors in college football right now. And that's my job as the head coach. It's not just the coach. It's not just to lead a culture. It's not just to get people to graduate. It's not just to have the highest GPA they've ever had here. The first spring we were here, it's not just that. It's all inclusive. And the longer I'm the head coach here in year 2 and 3, there are no excuses. There's never excuses, because that's where college football is different than the NFL. It's different because you pick everything that happens in your program you're in control of. So when we're in year 2 and we're in year 3, when you're in year 4, everything is 100% a reflection of what I've allowed to happen. And that starts with donors and fundraising and getting people involved. So I got to go do that this week.
It's all about, right now, NIL. NIL, getting money into your programs, getting money to support these kids in what they're doing here. It's a new game right now. It's a new game right now, and it's called NIL. And who would have thought that's the first thing you would think a head coach? You would think that they just lost 9 out of 12 games. I got to go get kids. No, I got to go get donors who are going to donate or going to put money into this program.
I think, DK, that unfortunately, in the worst possible way, politics has kind of mirrored that similar style. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, 7 years ago, it was come and donate money because Herm Edwards is that guy, and he's going to do big things here, and you're going to get him to go, and we're going to be great at heights we've never seen before, and the mountaintop and all that stuff. And people buy in and get on board, and then it all fizzles out, and the next guy, Dillingham, comes in. It's kind of the same thing. Like, we're the staff that's going to put ASU on the map and all those other things. It's fundraising based on a personality at the top of all that stuff. Look at what Jed Fish obviously has done here. And whenever Jed Fish is asked, you know what he does, DK? He defers to all of it, the people on his staff, right? And so that's that weird thing where you have to be the face of a program, and clearly money rules everything in college athletics, especially football these days. But that whole turnaround of you just had a bunch of donors buy into Herm Edwards being the guy, and now Dillingham, what is he, 37? I'm a 37-year-old fresh-faced coach. Come by, trust me to take the program where we need it to go. That's a hard sell, right? Coming off of what they just did.
Yeah. And it's interesting. He also said something I thought was fascinating, and I really hadn't thought about this. In terms of, because one of the things, we were up there and we did the show at Macayo's, and if you walk across that bridge from where the restaurant was back towards the stadium, you're walking across Tempe Town Lake, and they've got all those glass buildings down there that if you ever drive by there at night, it's a spectacle to look at. It's absolutely beautiful with the lights, the way they light those buildings. I believe State Farm is down there. There's a bunch of companies that have these buildings. There's a ton of money. And I've said forever, I don't understand why ASU, and Glenn and I had this conversation, why ASU is not good, because there's so much money there. There's so much money. But Dillingham said, when's the last time a major market college, I'm talking major market college, won a national football championship? And I was like, that's interesting. You have to go all the way back. Essentially, it depends if you call, and I don't know that I would call Columbus a major market. It's a big city, but it's not top 20.
It's not L.A.
No. You have to go all the way back to USC in 2004.
Yeah.
The last time a major market college won a national championship in football.
Clearly, like those traditional college towns,
Yeah.
right, will always have a fervor involved in that. In L.A., the problem there is obviously splitting the interest, and it's been that way forever. It's hard to keep tabs on Lakers, Dodgers, all the different colleges and everything else. There's a lot of divided affinities there, right? On the other hand, if you're talking about one of those schools that just has the monopoly on everybody's attention because, Columbus or whatever, there's a lot of schools that have nothing but. Now, you're talking Phoenix. We talked about it all the time. The split loyalties there, money or otherwise, come from transplanted loyalties where people come to Phoenix, move to Phoenix later in their lives. Don't get me wrong. There's been 1 million people born in Phoenix in the last 20 years. I'm not saying that there aren't youth there as well, but for the most part, the people that have money, DK, have no loyalty to ASU. And, we know about the numbers. So many people have gone to school there. They have one of the largest undergrads of any school in the country. And the people who have buying power, right, who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, who have the ability to buy boxes or to fund NILs and that kind of stuff, they've already got their loyalties left back in Michigan or Ohio or other places where they've come from. They're likely donating to those athletic departments, even though they might live in the Valley. And that's the biggest, I think, issue. You look at the markets, not all markets are created equal. So LA has a ton of loyalty for USC and UCLA, obviously, but they're divided. Phoenix, on the other hand, there's just not a lot of people there who have maroon and gold shirts in their closets at home, right? They got Buckeye colors or Spartans or some other team.
Well, and maybe I'll take that back. Columbus is actually a top 15 city, so they are up there in terms of population. But again, when you look at this, Los Angeles and Miami are the last two major markets. In Miami, you have to go all the way back to 2001. So since that time, you're talking about Austin. And Austin, that's not small.
No.
But, Austin, Gainesville, Baton Rouge, Tuscaloosa, Auburn. Where's Florida State? Florida State is in Tallahassee and whatever city Clemson is in. I don't know.
Eugene is not a very big place.
No.
A lot of the traditional, these last 20 years anyway, powerhouse football programs, you're right. Almost exclusively outside of USC and Miami come from college towns, what we think of as college towns.
So that's what he's basically saying. It's hard. It's not easy to win a national championship and put together that kind of thing in a major market, in a major market. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. David Adams is going to join us in the next hour. More Territorial Cup victory talk. It was not a totally great weekend on the Territorial Cup front. Volleyball got swept at home in their Territorial Cup match by ASU 3-0, and the ladies' season comes to an end. Unfortunately, not the season that they were looking for. But again, they've got the number 7 recruiting class coming in next year. They've got the number 1 recruit in the country coming in next year. But it was a 23-loss season. 8-23 was the final mark. 3-17 in the Pac-12 for Charita Stubbs in her first year. The Wildcats ended with a 4-game losing streak in which they won just 1 set over those final 4 matches. So the only place to go is up for the Arizona women's volleyball program. So, in terms of the Territorial Cup Series, over the fall, the Wildcats won men's cross country, women's cross country, football, and soccer. The only one they lost was volleyball, so U of A currently leads the Territorial Cup Series 4-1.
You could pencil basketball in there too, probably.
Okay, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but yes, that's probably what's going to happen. 4-1. That's a good fall for the Territorial Cup Series in that respect. Even though all 4 of those teams, and only one of them is actually going to go to quote the postseason on the Directors Cup front. Not a great look. Only 1 out of 5 are getting to their postseason, and that would be the football team going to a bowl game. Next hour, we'll get into that. we'll talk a little bit more high school football. We got another team headed to a state championship game. We mentioned Sabino wins the Conference 3A state title. Congratulations to the SaberCats, Ryan McBrayer, and all of his kids out there. Cameron Hackworth, the Berry Hill triplets, brothers, I should say. They're not triplets, but brothers. Mason Cade had a monster game. Over 200 yards rushing. They put up 68 points in the state championship game to beat Paradise Honors. Congratulations to Sabino. CDO, you're up next Friday night at Mountain America Stadium. This is DK, the Sports Tip, along with JW Madden and Cricket. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio, 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Crashes clearing Grant and Wilmot with westbound. Restrictions and slowdowns westbound on Grant at Wilmot. Oracle and Fort Lowell, and also Oracle and Linda Vista. Slowdowns at Ajo and Mission, also on southbound La Cholla at Ajo Way. Weather-wise, we got 50 our overnight low with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, some morning clouds, and 74s are high, 70 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you like using debit over credit, shouldn't you also get rewarded? Well, now you can with Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cashback on everyday purchases with no fees, period. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
This is Jim Rome with your Rome Report. If you're getting ready for work this morning, then you're probably not Frank Reich. That's right. The first-year Panthers head coach does not even get to be a one and done. He didn't even make it to one and done. He didn't even make it to 12 games. Even Pervin Liar got 13 games before he got the axe. And he was lying and kicking kickers and trashing his own assistants and skipping team flights and taking nights out in C-Bus with co-eds and losing like crazy and is the worst NFL head coach ever. And even he got more games than Frank Reich did in Carolina. I'm not surprised that the dude didn't make it to year 2, but I am a little bit surprised that he did make it to week 13. Then again, owner David Tepper's favorite activity is to run coaches into the guillotine. I mean, he has done it 3 times since he bought that team 5 years ago.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools, from dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January, because you know, mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Ingersoll Rand, and Metaltech in-store or at northerntool.com.
Sam knows when people want some pizza, they search for pizza near me. Sam also knows if Sam's Pizza doesn't prominently appear when that map returns with pizza shops, well, then Sam's Pizza is not on the map.
Cumulus Boost can help by consistently managing Sam's online listings, managing reviews, and dozens of other things the search engine uses to put businesses on the map. Cumulus Boost helps make sure Sam gets the click. Cumulus Boost. Get on the map. CUMULUSBoost.com.
Tucson has a brand new platform for some of the leading conservative voices and opinion makers in America. It's the all-new Freedom 1400 KTUC. Freedom 1400 is the new home for conservative talk in Tucson. Voices you know and trust from Fox News Television, Newsmax Television, or your favorite conservative podcasts. When you want fresh, entertaining conservative talk, go to 1400 AM or stream it at freedom1400.com and listen to the new Freedom 1400. We get you so close to McHale, it sounds like the Arizona Pep Band is riding in your back seat.
What the hell is going on?
This is the home of Arizona men's basketball. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
There are many signs that you may be in financial trouble. Late mortgage payments, paying bills from your retirement account, or paying one credit card with another. If you're experiencing financial hardship, bankruptcy may be right for you. The credit industry wants you to believe that bankruptcy is bad and will destroy your credit forever, but that's just not true. At Lerner Rowe Law Group, we'll take the time to carefully examine your situation and develop a plan that is right for you. Call Lerner Rowe Law Group today for a free consultation.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Sean Forrester, Managing Attorney.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Don't let heating or plumbing problems spoil your holidays. I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. We'd like to wish you a safe and happy holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. When you need us, call 520-440-4069 for honest service to the Tucson area for over 22 years.
It's no contest, Tucson. You're listening to the home of the Arizona Wildcats. That's why 1290 runs this town. This is the one and only home of your Arizona Wildcats.
And you know this, man!
We are Wildcats Radio 1290. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
From the what? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
And Cricket, getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Fafita rolls back, throws the pass, caught. McLaughlin dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona. Tanner McLaughlin with his second TD of the day.
Arizona is just on. They've been so sharp today, and that was another example of it.
Tanner McLaughlin, 2 touchdown receptions, 7 catches as a whole. The new tight end pass catching king here at the University of Arizona as he passes Rob Gronkowski. Now, of course, Rob. So Tanner played 2 seasons here. I believe Rob played 2 seasons and then obviously sat out the 1 season with an injury before leaving to go to the NFL. I'll have to see what the number of games played. I always look at that when you talk about records, like how many games did Rob play versus how many games did Tanner play, to kind of see how the numbers kind of even out in that respect, but not taking anything away from Tanner McLaughlin. He has had a tremendous 2 seasons here at the University of Arizona. And again, when Jed Fish was hired, and we talked about this at the top of the show, and Jada brought it up how, you could go down a list of people, and even former players have come on and said, when they hired this guy, I wasn't so sure. And we talked about, the fans. The one thing I said is like, you know what? I don't know anything about this guy. He's never been a head coach before, but he's been a lot of places in the National Football League. And as long as he uses the tight end,
yeah.
I mean, me and Glenn had this conversation on TV. I said, as long as he throws the ball to the tight end, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. I think that was the first question I asked him in that Zoom press conference was like, do you have a philosophy of throwing the ball to the tight end with all your NFL background? And he said, absolutely. I said, okay, I'm good. Just all right. As long as you do that, because a lot of coaches will say that. I mean, we've heard it throughout the years. Stoops talked about it after Rob left, and then Rich Rod talked about it, but it never really happened because he had 4 or 5 receivers on the field at one time. And Fish said he would throw the ball to the tight end. I said, okay, if you throw the ball to the tight end. I think I'll give you the leeway to be the head coach here.
I'll tell you exactly. I have the stats for both of them in front of me, but first of all, I'll tell you my perspective was it's not like Andy Reid's walking through that door. Like, I don't know what people were expecting, but they were on a 14-game losing streak, DK, for a college football program that hasn't exactly been known for being atop the mountain during their time in the conference, right? So my whole thing was anybody who's got a positive attitude and wants to come in here and do the work to turn things around. I just like everybody else, I did the due diligence on Jed Fish. I didn't know much about his background, but I was all about giving him the opportunity at the time just because what other options were there, right?
Yeah.
So Rob Gronkowski played in 22 college football games. He had 75 receptions for 1,197 yards and 16 touchdowns. Tanner, through his 2 years here, he has played in 24 games, so 2 more games. 76 receptions. That's the record he broke. He now is 1 ahead of Rob, and he has 956 yards and 6 touchdowns in his career.
So he had 6 TDs. Gronk had 16.
Yeah, that's what he did. Rob Gronkowski catches touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's what he go look at his first 3 years stats in the NFL. I mean, I think he was on pace to pass Jerry Rice if he would have stayed healthy and continued that. He'd 18, 20, just some crazy numbers. Hard to stop down there on the goal line.
Yeah, that's. So even pretty much in terms of games, that's the thing I always look at is well, did who played? Did they play an equal amount of games? Were there more games? But so that's legit. That's a legit 76 catches in just a few more games than Rob Gronkowski. But again, we'll see now what Tanner does if he has an opportunity at the next level. I think he can play at the next level. Like I said, I think he's a very good pass catcher. I think he's even a better blocker.
Yeah.
From what I saw this year and how he made an impact on this run game. I mean, it's interesting. We had the conversation last year about the receivers blocking. Heck, there was one big run this week, and I even saw Speedy Luke was out there blocking somebody. I was like, man, they got everybody on this team out there in space blocking. That's a beautiful thing.
I got to bring back Coach Carroll's comments. Let me find it really quick because he was asked about that this week, right?
Yeah.
And he had a great answer. Let me go find that really quick.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. While J-Dub looks for that, we'll hear now from Coach Carroll.
Sheesh. Yeah.
So let me set this up. He was asked, do you think Tanner McLaughlin
is an NFL
player? And here's the answer that he gives.
Sheesh. Yeah. I really like Tanner. He's got a fantastic ceiling. There's more in there, and he's going to keep working to develop in these last couple of games here. But a guy like that who can stretch the field, make fantastic catches, away from his body, and can create mismatches in the secondary. He's good against safeties, good against linebackers, can go up against corners. And one of the most impressive things is you can throw him the ball in the flat, and he can gain more yards than what the tackler is going to give him. So,
I just love that. Sheesh. Yeah.
Exactly.
What are you guys watching? I think, for sure.
Brennan's funny, man. He's a funny guy. He was just I got a good picture of him just kind of sitting on the bench, just taking it all in before the game, just relaxing, just eyeing out probably what they were about to do to that team and just licking his chops for what they were going to be able to do. Crazy ball game. In fact, that Tetsuo McMillan was so wide open. T-Mac, the Pac-12 Player of the Week, in case you did not hear, for his 266-yard performance, second best in program history, best ever in the Territorial Cup game for a wide receiver. I also mentioned I went to the Rams game. We have a bunch of questions we'll get into. I went to the Rams game yesterday, and a ton of Rams fans up there at the Arizona Cardinals game, and they won 37-14. Matthew Stafford threw for 4 touchdown passes. Tyron Williams came back and had 3 scores, and they just absolutely could not guard Tyler Higbee. He was wide open on both of his touchdown passes. But I want to know, in case you were with us earlier when we talked about this, if you follow the Los Angeles Rams, are you a Rams fan from back in the day? I'm talking like Merlin Olsen and Ed Deacon Jones. I almost said Ed Too Tall Jones. Deacon Jones, James Harris, like I said, Lawrence McCutcheon. Are you that Rams fan? Are you St. Louis Rams fan from Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk days? can't ever remember any of the guys that played on defense for those teams. There was one guy from, there was a guy who grew up in Cleveland that played defense there, linebacker. He's on CBS's morning show that they have on the Sports Network, the 4-hour show. I forget his name. Are you a current Rams fan? Jason Donald, Matthew Stafford. Who was the running back they had a few years ago when they were really good? I can't even remember his name. Are you a current Rams fan?
Clearly, you're not a Rams fan.
I used to be growing up. That was one of my teams. I've always been a Browns fan, but I cheered for the Rams when I lived in Los Angeles. I was a Rams fan. Then when I got back to college, because the Raiders were right next door, and that was kind of the thing to be in the 80s.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I didn't necessarily become a Raiders fan, but I would just walk over there and go to games. Back in the 80s, you could go over there and get a nice scalp ticket for about $15, $20.
I kind of had to be a Raiders fan. And not that I really am a Raiders fan, but growing up, my name is John Madden. And so growing up, I never really got poked fun at more so than when I was in high school and whatnot. They would say like, hey, where's your bus? That was a big one I got. But growing up here, we had, I think it was Paul mentioned, a lot of Cowboy fans here in Tucson.
Yeah.
It was either Raiders or Cowboys in my experience growing up. It was one of those two fan bases that dominated, for the most part, NFL fandom in Tucson before the Cardinals even moved here to Arizona. So, yeah, I liked the idea of an owner who just got every sprint champion from the Olympic team and threw him back there and told him to catch a ball and run fast. Was a really fun era for the Raiders.
And every time I go to the Cardinals stadium and I look up on this one wall they have, we were low in the 400 level yesterday. Great seats, like 2 rows from like if you fall over, you're falling down into the next section down there. But I always look up onto this one wall they have up there on that level, and they've got Jim Hart and Roy Green and Conrad Dobler,
right?
And so there was like a picture of going probably back to the Chicago Cardinals days. The point of that is that all these guys that never played in Arizona, never played. That always bugs me. And it's like, okay, the sign they had above it said Arizona Cardinals. Let's replace that with just Cardinals history and present it as Cardinals history, but don't present it as Arizona Cardinals history, because none of those guys played anywhere close to here.
Well, we made the joke, is the Big 12 going to call themselves conference champions? Because UCLA and USC, they're bringing 100-plus team championships with them.
Right.
UCLA, USC, and Stanford are 1, 2, and 3. They're ahead of everybody else by a mile. I like the franchises like the Dodgers, who had 2 distinctive histories that were both earth-shaking, right? They had so much success on the East Coast, so much success on the West Coast. But for teams like the Cardinals, I never have a problem, paying homage to those players that played in your franchise before.
Yeah.
But don't label them as Arizona Cardinals if they never played there.
Exactly. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. And getting back to our question of the day about the billboard, and I want to go back to where this all really started, because this whole thing didn't just start. I think a lot of people think, ASU beat us 77, they put up this billboard. No, it goes back to 2011, folks, when Arizona actually started this. The University of Arizona started erecting billboards all over the state that said Arizona is Wildcat country. Okay. This was, I think Greg Byrne started this.
So I had a very brief conversation with Dana Cooper before we got him on the air, and I talked about that a little bit, and he said just exactly that. He said, I think it was Byrne who started the billboard thing.
Right. Byrne started that. So they would put them everywhere. They put them up in northern Arizona. They would put them all across the state. But they definitely put a lot of those billboards in Phoenix. Okay, so that was kind of where it started. Then that was 2011. Then you'll remember 2013, ASU bought a billboard and put it on Swan and Speedway. And they had, who was the kid out of Saguaro High School, DJ Foster, who eventually went on and played for the Cardinals for a hot minute. They put him on a billboard at Swan and Speedway, and I forget exactly what it said, something like ASU, I think it's Stay True to ASU. was the campaign. It was stay true to ASU. And they plopped that thing right down here in Tucson. So that was like the next salvo. Okay. Then the Wildcats hired Kevin Sumlin, and they put up a bunch of billboards with him in the Phoenix area. So this goes back to 2018 when they put up billboards with Kevin Sumlin's picture, welcome to Arizona, all over the place.
I remember long before any of that when there actually was another series of billboards, but it was in a comical kind of sweet way. And that's when the coach...
Is there such thing as comical sweet in the billboard
it wasn't
war?
this case because it was the coach from Michigan, Frieder, came
Bill
out to coach
Frieder,
ASU,
yes.
and he and Lute knew each other from back when Lute was at Iowa. And so right when he came out here, they had a joint partnership. I don't remember who they were advertising for.
It was a bank, I think.
A bank.
Yeah.
But they had this whole thing where they had both of them together.
Right.
And I remember that there being billboards of that around the state, but it wasn't antagonistic like we're gonna get all your recruits. You can't have our recruits whole thing that they started with this Wildcat country and whatnot. So,
yeah. And so then is when it went to, then they beat a U of A 70-7, and then that billboard went up. So this is not a new thing. It's not a new thing, and it's actually something that that in terms of this latest round of billboard battling that Arizona started.
An eye for an eye, DK.
Yeah. We'll try to maybe get into some of these more comments maybe tomorrow because we got a bunch of stuff we got to get done before 6 o'clock. But David Adams is going to join us next, getting you home every 20 minutes. So before we get to David Adams, let me tell you about QC Kinetics. Where is your pain? Is it in your knees, hips, your back? Don't let it sideline you any longer, and don't let them tell you surgery is your only options. Call QC Kinetics now for the future of pain relief. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue the natural way. This is the science of using properties from your own body, folks, to bring you a lasting relief. There's no drugs. There's no downtime. QC Kinetics is trusted by patients all over America, over 150 clinics nationwide with advanced protocols that can get you moving again. So get started now. We want you to live big in 2024. Talk about a great use of your FSA, maybe your HSA. Put those accounts to work getting you the relief you need so badly. These new and advanced regenerative treatments are getting amazing reviews for people with arthritic pain or just pain from an injury that you may have had at some point in your life. Again, no drugs, no downtime, and absolutely no surgery. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Let their medical professionals give you a better path toward that pain-free life. There's 2 locations here in Southern Arizona. One of them is off of Academy. The other is off of Orange Grove. Here's that number to call, 520-497-4955, 520-497-4955. QC Kinetics. Call them now at 520-497-4955. Cricket, getting you home with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Speedway and Main Avenue and Speedway, new collision there, causing some westbound backups on Speedway Boulevard approaching I-10. Also collision at Mary Ann Cleveland Way and Colossal Cave Road. Slowing at Aja Way and Mission, also on southbound La Cholla at Aja Way for more backups. I'm Cricket. And your weather overnight tonight, partly cloudy, 50 the low, morning clouds tomorrow, and 74 are high, and 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Big O Tires. Come to Big O Tires for the big Black Friday sale now through December 3rd and get up to $140 instant savings off select in-stock Michelin tires at Big O, just in time for your holiday travel plans. Details at bigotires.com. The team you trust.
It's a new era in Tucson.
A great afternoon to you.
A new show on the air.
We're going to bear down like we've never bared down before.
It's DK on the Sports Tip, driving you home weekdays at 3 on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. It looks like our long, hot summer is finally over, and cooler temperatures are great news for us and mostly good news for your car. But for some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires, and then get back to enjoying the cooler temperatures. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low-pressure warning light, we fix those too. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drive up. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Well, boss, how's the sleigh?
It's amazing. Like it just flew off the showroom floor. Sparkling clean, no chimney dust, and I've never seen his nose so bright.
Recon Auto Detailing.
Recon gift cards to all, and to all a clean ride.
Give Recon Auto Detailing gift cards, and Arizona's premier auto detailing company will come do a basic cleaning or a jaw-dropping full detail, including a ceramic finish for anyone on your list. Get your Recon Auto Detailing gift cards now online at recondetail.com.
Go Wildcats! As the new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community. We are looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
Hey guys, I have a riddle. I hate it already. I'm wearing a polar bear disguise to provide service with no compromise. You're an Alaska vacation. Wait, I'm not done. It's a vital annual task, even though I'm behind a mask. Alaska-fication. You're an Alaska-fication. Don't spoil it for Ron. Alaska-fication. When I'm done, you won't shed a tear, because your heater will be guaranteed for a whole long year. Who am I? Alaska-fication. How'd you guess?
Gary, everyone knows the Alaska-fication from Alaskan AC is the finest furnace tune-up in town.
Everybody also knows Alaskan AC guarantees no breakdowns for a year.
And everybody also knows it helps you save money on your utilities.
Wow, how quickly did you figure it out? As soon as you said, I like to dress up in costumes. I never said that. I know what I heard. Ron?
That kind of gave it away.
What do you guys know? I'm going to go take care of our customers with our world-famous Alaska vacations.
Schedule now at alaskanac.com.
Don't forget your fluffy tail. Oh, thanks.
Android users, you can tune in to the home of the Wildcats by downloading our new app at the Google Play Store so you can tune in wherever you are 24 hours a day. The home of the Wildcats is everywhere. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Tucson area attorneys. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's the 5 o'clock hour, and it's time for our Arizona Insiders.
Am I late?
No, my boy, you're just in time.
Each weekday, Wildcats Radio 1290 brings you all the latest news and opinions on U of A football and the Pac-12. So bear down, Tucson, and let's talk Arizona football. Our Arizona Insiders are brought to you by Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
All right, let's talk to a guy who knows a little bit something about beating up on the Arizona State Sun Devils. He did it a bunch of times, if I'm not mistaken, 5 times as a player. David Adams, U of A running back from 1986, is our insider today. David, what were your thoughts on what you saw transpire on the football field Saturday?
Well, DK, I think they played excellent. Think that ASU had a chance.
You said they had a chance or didn't have a chance?
Oh, okay. I think they played excellent. I didn't think they had a chance. ASU really had a chance in this game because U of A was on a high momentum swing for the last several games. So it ended up, I didn't think it was going to go that high, but it ended up pretty bad.
Yeah. What did you think of the fact that, one of the best players on the field was Tetsuo McMillan, but yet they did not seem to have any idea where he was on the field? How does a player that good get left open, so wide open, so many times in the course of one football game?
Well, it's not that they did it accidentally. They thought because the guy they had playing him in practice on their scout team, they were covering him. They had all of the patterns that he liked to run covered. So they figured that, hey, we've covered all those passes. He can't do anything that's going to fool us, so we can take him one-on-one, and he proved them very, very wrong.
David Adams joining us, U of A football class of 1986. DA, just the course of the last 6 weeks and this winning streak, and obviously the evolution we have seen from Noah Fafita at quarterback. What's most just impressed you about what this young man has been able to do from the moment he stepped on the field against Stanford, leading up to winning a second straight Territorial Cup game for this program?
Well, I think he did what he was supposed to do, was just take advantage of his opportunity. He did that, and he never looked back, and he made it difficult for the coaches to decide, do we go back to what we've had or do we keep you in there? Because if you couldn't beat me out in the spring, why would I think that you can beat me out during the fall? But he was more consistent and a lot more accurate as far as winning is concerned and throwing the ball. So the coaches end up staying with him, and that's how you can lose your job sometimes to injury, even though everybody says that you can't lose your job to injury.
What's the most exciting thing about this offense to you? Over the course of the last few weeks, I've really kind of taken to the fact that this team just does a great job of blocking on the edge. I mean, they get their linemen out on the edge and in space, blocking the wide receivers. And to a man, I mean, whether it's T-Mac, whether it's Jacob Cowing, whether it's Montana Lamonius Craig, do a great job of blocking on the edge on a lot of those screens is in the run game. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, Zach, I even saw Speedy Luke out there blocking downfield on a run, on one of those receiver runs for T-Mac. I mean, just to a man, the skill positions have done an excellent job, I think, of blocking for this offense.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, DK. Receivers don't like blocking for running backs, but they love blocking for each other. So they will definitely, when it's one of theirs, they'll definitely try and make something happen. But on a run play, that's when they're resting and taking time off, because they're like, okay, if you can gain 5 yards, that's a good play as far as run play is concerned. But that's my buddy over there playing the other slot position or the wideout position, so I got to take care of him. But it sounds funny, but it just really works out that way. They just don't like to block on run plays, but if one of their boys got it, they don't mind. And it's not that they can't, it's just that those are the plays that they usually take off because they're running streaks all day. They're running, and you got to be able to recoup sometime, and that's what they end up doing. And, it's just a part of football that everybody's learned to accept.
Who was the best blocking wide receiver on your teams?
Jay Dobbins.
Jay Dobbins, not surprising.
No. I only had him for 1 year, so because when I started playing, he was a senior, and Jay Dobbins wanted to win. I mean, he would like a few passes every now and then, but overall, he just wanted to win. And because I was his friend and he cared about me, he would block. Not that the other receivers.
You were his guy. Like you just said, like you were his guy.
Because if you aren't gonna throw Jay the ball, he's got to knock this mess out of somebody.
David Adams joining us, U of A football class of 1986. So you have a lot of Territorial Cup memories. Is there a list, like top 3 moments for you in that game?
Yeah, I like the moments when the game was over and I could look them in the eye and say, "That was your ass." That was my favorite moment. So, they had a lot of great athletes, and there were bigger names than us. They were always ranked higher than us, so it was always nice, when the underdog wins, and supposedly underdog wins, but we never felt that we were going to lose, and that's why we were 5-0.
Did you ever think about going up there?
Going up to play for them?
Yeah.
No, they didn't want me. You can't think about going places where nobody wants you. So,
That's why it was personal for you.
Well, it was personal for me against every team because none of the teams wanted me but Arizona. So I had to make sure that they understood that was a huge mistake.
What's the give me plays that you weren't involved in? And I'm sure there was a lot of play. What's the best play you saw in a game you played in that you weren't involved in?
James DeBow stop on the goal line.
Yeah.
That set up everything. And see, everybody goes to the Chuck Cecil play, which was a great play. But James DeBow's play was the key play that turned the game around. And when we got the ball on R1, I got like 4 or 5 passes in a row to get us out to like 30, 40-yard line. And it was a phenomenal time because a lot of people, they just brush over the James DeBow play because they want to get to the most exciting play.
Yeah.
The most exciting play was that play, but the most important play was the James DeBow play.
Who won in the Oklahoma drill between you and James DeBow?
DK, you know I don't lose, man. That was a crazy question.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask. I'll have to ask James DeBow that question next time I talk to him.
Well, see, James DeBow was a DB. We never did Oklahoma drills against the DBs. It was against the linebackers.
Oh, it was just the running backs and the linebackers. Okay.
But the thing about it is, even if I did lose one of those drills, my super select memory won't bring that up. It brings up the victories.
Outstanding. David, we always appreciate you joining the show and sharing your thoughts with us on Arizona football. We appreciate having you all season. We'll have you again as we get ready for this bowl run. Well,
call me as soon as possible because I was going to be on the basketball team as well, and that's a long story that I'll tell you that me and Lute Olson had.
Okay. I'd love to hear that story. Absolutely.
You can count on it, buddy.
Absolutely. David Adams, U of A football class of 1986.
Thanks to Coors Light for bringing you today's Arizona Insiders on Wildcats Radio 1290. Coors Light, official corporate sponsors of Arizona Athletics. There's nothing like game day in Arizona.
There's nobody like Sweet D, Sunnyside's own. Great Wildcat, great man. Always appreciate having a chance to talk to David Adams. The third member of our show, Cricket, rejoins us. Okay, Cricket, we are going to put away Thanksgiving now and get ready for Christmas. Today is Cyber Monday, right?
Yes.
Have you bought anything?
No. Have you?
No.
Me neither.
J-Dub. No.
I have not bought Cyber Monday things for many decades going on now. No.
Have you ever bought? So I don't think I've ever bought anything on Cyber Monday. That's just not the way I do Christmas shopping. Like, have you ever bought anything on Cyber Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard the origin of that term. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
It's because when it started, everybody had dial-up. So this was in like the mid-'90s, late '90s, and so everybody's home internet connection was terrible, but the internet connection at work was really good. And so on the Monday after Thanksgiving, people would go into work and they would do a bunch of online shopping for all these deals. So Cyber Mondays was really people on the Monday morning going to their office buildings, which had much better connections than their home dial-up internet.
Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of work getting done those Mondays is what you're saying right there, J-Dub, huh?
That's the rumor. I mean, the rumor is that Monday was just nothing but, what are you ordering? It's usually, stuff for Christmas, I would assume. But, yeah, I like the good deal. I'm a deal hunter. So, like, when I buy a computer or something, I don't just buy it, right? Every 5 years I get a new computer. I usually look for the best deal. But I'm not raring to go on the Monday after Thanksgiving because I have to go spend money. That's not my life.
Right.
Are you a Black Friday shopper? Have you done that?
No, again, I think, to me, it just harkens back to those Cabbage Patch Doll days of the craze. People just running, waiting at the door, 4 hours before the store opens and all that stuff. I just think the deals, because of companies like Amazon, deals are year round now. And back in the day, it used to be they would wait. This was like a month before Christmas, perfect time to get people to go spend money. And it just seems like it doesn't really apply as much anymore.
I did that one time here. I think it was around 2011. I got up or went to the stores at midnight. Yeah, I went to the stores at midnight and I was there and I don't know if I think I bought a few things.
How many cracked ribs did you come home with that day?
I wasn't, that's not me. I'm not into fighting anybody. I'm not going to if you got to go run for something, then you just go have it. That's just, I'll just kind of leisurely walk in and figure out what I want. I'm not trying to run over nobody to get a TV.
It's dangerous. Even if you're not that person, you could still be like the brunt of that, you know?
So
I'll stay away from that.
So are you a pre-shopper? Do you already, some people already have their stuff bought. They buy it in September, or do you wait till now?
It kind of depends. My sister's kids are getting harder to shop for as they get older.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bought a few things for the kids and a few things for some close friends. What about you? Do you guys wait until the week?
Well, see, my wife has taken it over now. So
smart. Yay, lucky you.
She is taking it. So she does not like to. I'm that person. I was that person that would wait. If the stuff has got to be in the mail on the 16th, I'm waiting until the 13th or the 14th to actually start buying it. But she has to. She was yesterday in the car, she was making me call people. You got to call and find out what this person's list is. We got to get going on this. She wants to have it all done by next weekend.
But that's smart, though, so that at least maybe you're not all frantic.
Right,
towards
and we're not
Christmas.
paying astronomical mailing because we're displaced people, so we have to send all our gifts back east. So that alone can cost you as much as the gift.
The gift, right.
You think that's smart. The real smart is what Paige and I do, in which we don't have any friends, number one. And number two, we only have to shop for nephews.
Debbie's the only one that gets a gift, right?
No, nephews and nieces. So, there's quite a few nephews and nieces for both of our families.
Yeah.
And, we kind of, there's maybe one gift or whatever, one big gift for the head of the households. But other than that, it's really just shopping for kids, and that's never too difficult.
Yeah,
you just
that's
buy
pretty
the
much
coolest
what we
toy
do.
of the year.
Yeah, we just do the kids now. But my sister doesn't. My sister doesn't have kids, so we buy her a gift, kind of thing. If there's an adult without kids, we will buy a gift.
Did you guys ever do the annoying exchange? So some families with a lot of brothers and sisters that all have kids, they'll always take turns buying a toy that's as annoying as possible.
Yes.
So that you can put it in that person's household. And that was a big game going back and forth. That was always, the more noise and the more lights it makes and the harder it is to put together for people the night before, the better.
Gosh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No. All right, we got a lot of Christmas stuff. Christmas stories, we'll get into those as this month goes on. Cricket, tell them how to get home.
Westbound Speedway, actually, from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center. It's Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Speedway, east of I-10 at Speedway in Maine. A crash there. Westbound backups on Speedway approaching I-10. 6th and Campbell. Campbell and 6th Street was slowing at that intersection, and mostly for southbound traffic on Campbell at 6th Street. 50, our overnight low, partly cloudy skies tonight. Some morning clouds tomorrow, 74 our high. Sunny, or pardon me, not sunny, 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
Research says the average person has over 1,460 dreams per year. If one of those dreams is to get a great deal on your next vehicle, you need to see us during the Red Tag Sale at O'Reilly Chevrolet.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now, save $200 on a DeWalt miter saw. Now just $399. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1225. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1225. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1225. 800-777-1225 or biglou.com.
Hi, it's Floyd, the family man with the family plan. Outdated HVAC systems will drive up your electric bill, drain your wallet, and peace of mind. Save now at Goodfellas with no payments or interest till 2024. Get a 30% federal tax credit, up to $2,000 off qualifying heat pumps. Trust Goodfellas. We're locally owned with thousands of 5-star reviews. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. Visit us at goodfellasac.com to schedule a no-cost estimate.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Anjali.
Hi, it's Jennifer Coolidge. I just got an alert for a strange charge on my card.
No problem. We make sure you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases on your Discover card. Let's see. Did you purchase something from a t-shirt cannon store yesterday?
Absolutely not. No, I already have like 3.
$0 fraud liability guarantee. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
Amazon's got the best deals on Black Friday. Oh, the best deals are on Cyber Monday. Friday comes first when it comes to saving. Monday's worth the wait for what you've been craving. Deals so good it'll feel like stealing. Real cool message, could you make it less appealing? What's with the beef? You can get that too. Won't you call us? What's triggering you? Whichever day you're shopping on, you'll save a bunch at Amazon. On Black Friday, Cyber Monday too.
Wildcats Radio 1290 has been through all the ups that Wildcats fans experience.
Here comes the posse, and they sack him. Navy shirts everywhere.
They are swarming tonight. And the downs.
Ball is loose. Bulldogs pick it up. The 4th Arizona turnover of the night.
1290 is always there by your side to bring you all the raw emotion of the moments that matter to Wildcats fans. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of holiday joy at the Home Depot, where you can find everything you need to get ready for the holiday season, like all new festive outdoor decor. Spread more joy this season with holiday decor that is uniquely you, like our new 3.5-foot Santa and Elf inflatable, each just $19.98. Available in-store and online. Get holiday ready right now at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Hey, good morning. You're heading the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the
free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SCORE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SCORE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SCORE.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290. And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, our Desert Diamond Casino replay today is head coach Jed Fish, who met with the media this afternoon after a big win over the Arizona State Sun Devils, 59-23 in the Territorial Cup game, a Cup series in which he is now 2-1, and he was asked about the performance of his quarterback in this ball game, Noah Fafita, and how he has progressed this season.
Well, we threw the ball really well in the game. That's for sure. Had a couple opportunities that we missed that, certainly had a chance to probably have a touchdown at the end of the half that we just didn't come down with the ball, that third down play, and then threw an interception on the 5-yard line, which we should have hit Jacob for a touchdown there. Outside of those couple plays, I think he was pretty close to perfect the way he played. One of the ball that Jacob didn't come down with was a perfect ball. The decision there on the goal line was not. But you take those couple plays out, he was as good as any quarterback that I've been around in regards to decision-making, in regards to accuracy, getting out of trouble, completing the ball down the field, completing the ball mid-range, and, obviously finding T-Mac, finding Jacob, finding Tanner, finding Mike. All those guys had big, big games.
For Tanner McLaughlin to pass Gronk, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, super cool for him. We still got another game to play. I think he has a chance to set some more records, from what I understand. If we can get, 5 more catches or something to that effect, then it could be an all-time maybe season or whatever it might be. But he's been great since he's got here. He's been here a couple of years and came here as a walk-on, and we were able to give him a scholarship. And then once we gave him a scholarship, he never changed. He just kept getting better and better and better and doing things right and setting the tone on what it means to be a great leader and what it means to be a really good football player.
Two questions for you. 2 weeks ago, you got a reception for Roberto Miranda, the first of his career. This last week, you gave Naz Mobata his first career carry. Why is it important to do that sort of thing?
Well, I think, a lot of these guys will never play football after the bowl game. Now, Roberto probably has another year left, but it was the first time that his parents were in the United States, first time his dad was ever here, and it was senior day. And those things matter. A lot of times people question why you do something in terms of, whether it be throw a ball at the end of the game or try to get another completion or a touchdown for Jaden or a completion for Roberto or a handoff to Nas or get Cole Tannenbaum in the game to take a knee there at the end. But you do it for the kids. And, this isn't a professional sport. This is college football. And these guys, a lot of times, won't have another opportunity to live their dream. And they work every single day to be able to have one chance to do it. So it's really important to me that if we have the ability to do it based on the score, based on the circumstances, or based on the game, we can do it.
My second question is, they're expanding the college football playoff next year to 12. It's still 4 this year. But if it were 12 now, you guys would be in the mix. You might have a chance. What are your thoughts in general just on the expansion of the playoff?
Yeah, I think it's great to expand it. I think 4 is too small. There's no question every other league, every other sport has more than 4 teams in their playoffs. I was thinking a little bit about college basketball today. They go into the postseason and they just have 68 teams now. Go try to win a championship. Our regular season ends, and if you're not 1 through 4, you don't have a chance to win the championship. So, imagine if it was just the 4 number 1 seeds in basketball, and those were the only 4 that had a chance. It's just different. It's that we play less games. One loss means more. And then to not be able to have a playoff more than 4, this is great that we're expanding it. And if it was 2 years ago, we'd be playing Friday night. And, when we had Pac-12 South, they still made sure we scheduled the Pac-12 South. We had a Pac-12 South schedule. We played all the teams in the Pac-12 South, and then we played, some of the teams in the North. And if that was the case, we'd be playing on Friday night against Washington. But they made that change, and just like they'll be making the change next year for a 12-team playoff.
Well, beyond those 4 bowl games, the playoff, you often will see guys maybe consider not playing because they're thinking about the pros or whatever. Have you had any discussions with any of your guys about not playing in the game, and do you anticipate that happening?
Yeah, I think that, there's probably going to be 1, maybe 2 guys that don't play in the bowl game due to either NFL circumstances or injury, whatever it might be. I think if you're a first rounder, I could see it. I could see not playing in it. I think that other than that, I think most guys will play in it. It's an opportunity to showcase your skill one more time. I think you have to take a little cost-benefit analysis. I think some people take a step back on that. But we talked to a couple guys about it. Most guys I'm expecting to play. And that's, I think it's everybody's choice. But this is a big-time game we're going to. I would assume we'll be playing in one of 3 games, probably one of 2 games, I guess. If Oregon and Washington both make the college football playoff, then I would assume we'll probably play in the Fiesta. If otherwise, I assume we'll be in the Alamo Bowl or something to that effect. Is what it looks like. And those are big-time games. And you got a chance to be in a special game. And if that's the case, then I would think most guys want to be in it.
Obviously, we've talked a lot about Noah and T-Mac's connection all season really coming into its own last week. What did you see when you were recruiting them back at Certified, and how has that connection developed in your eyes since they've been here?
Yeah, I think we've, continued to talk about those 2 guys. The story's the story, right? They've played together since 8th grade. They're best friends. They've had a great connection in terms of where they're going to be on every single play when the ball's in the air to go attack it. But I think that they're both separately very good players too. Sometimes we're just kind of like combining them, and one's not good without the other. I don't think that's the case. T-Mac was a phenomenal player last year, phenomenal player the first 4 games of this year. Noah has obviously played extremely well since he stepped in. Having T-Mac as a receiver for him is obviously something special because they've done it for so long. But in the end, they find each other, they work together with each other, but they're both independently outstanding football players, not just collectively.
2 questions for you. Number 1, you guys haven't lost a second quarter scoring margin within this 6-game win streak. Just a coincidence or an emphasis going into halftime that you have to win that second quarter, that second 15 minutes?
No, I think that's just a coincidence. We try to win every quarter, but I don't know. I don't think that hasn't really been anything that's crossed my mind regarding the second quarter. I try to hold the ball as long as we can in the second quarter to be able to end with the ball in our hands. We had a chance at it the other day. We wound up missing a field goal, missing a touchdown, missing a field goal. That was very disheartening. We could have been 41-7 or 45-7. I would have liked that better. But other than that, I don't know. It's just probably been circumstances.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, that's the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, Jed Fish, talking about the bowl game upcoming, players that, he anticipates there may be a couple guys that will not play due to the possibilities of the NFL draft. It happens every year with every team. That's kind of where we are in college football nowadays. A lot of those guys just will choose not to play, and that will be where that is. Alamo Bowl, maybe a New Year's 6 if both of the Pac-12 teams get into the playoff. I don't know that would happen, but maybe if Oregon wins and Washington slides in as the 4, then that's a possibility. That would be great if the Arizona Wildcats did play in the Fiesta Bowl. All right, that's going to wrap up our show for today. Thanks to all the folks that joined us, David Adams, Dana Cooper. For my crew here, Cricket and J-Dub, I'm David Kelly. As always, though, most of all, thanks to you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Continue the conversation about this billboard. Where should it go if it's going to be one erected? It's DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. 6th and Campbell and 6th Street crash there. Southbound backups on Campbell at 6th Street. Speedway, east of I-10 Speedway in Maine, a wreck there. Westbound, pretty heavy westbound backups on Speedway approaching I-10. Partly cloudy overnight, 50 our low. Morning clouds tomorrow and 74 the high. 68 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by ChumbaCasino.com. It's time to experience the thrill of the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com. It's free to play. Play for fun and no purchases necessary. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions.